Chapter 114. Sima Yue was bored to death as she waited for the banquet to start. Since she had nothing to do, she took a spirit fruit to eat. Normally he would only eat the spirit fruits in his soul pearl. Now that he was eating this, he felt that the taste was not good at all. Hearing the people beside her exclaiming about how delicious the spirit fruit was, she suddenly felt how extravagant her life was. Actually, to other people, these spirit fruits were indeed very hard to come by. This was because in order for ordinary fruits to become spirit fruits, they had to grow in a very strict environment. They had to be in a place of outstanding talents, and they had to go through a very long period of evolution. The spirit fruit was the same as the spirit vegetables. Eating it could increase the spirit energy in one's body, so everyone wanted to get their hands on the spirit fruit. Once a spirit fruit appeared, it would soon be sold out. There was a price but no supply. Even a first-rate force might not be able to eat spirit fruits often. Ordinary people might not be able to eat more than a few spirit fruits in their lifetime, but here, there were several plates of spirit fruits on every table for the guests to eat as they pleased. The royal family is the royal family after all. They are really generous. Someone sighed. Sima Yu Ming and the others each ate a spirit fruit before putting it down. Sima Yu Lu sat beside Sima Yu Yu and leaned in front of her, saying, "It's a far cry from what you gave us." Sima Yu Yue nodded her head. This spirit fruit was indeed far inferior to the spirit fruit in the soul pearl. The spirit energy it contained was different, and the taste was also different. Ever since she discovered the spirit fruits, she would send them to Sima Yue every few days. At first, they were surprised that Sima Yue had so many spirit fruits, but they all knew that Sima Yue was not the flesh and blood of the Sima family, so even if they knew that she had secrets, they did not probe further and just accepted the gifts. "Oh, there's going to be a good show tonight," Sima Yue suddenly said. Sima Yue looked up and followed his gaze. She raised her eyebrows when she saw who it was. Nalan Lan actually came. This time there would really be a good show to watch. He brought Nalan Lan and two other youngsters in. His empty sleeves swayed as he walked. "Looks like I didn't leave any traces behind last time." When Nalan Lan followed her father into the main hall, she saw Murong An's figure. At that time he was whispering to Shiramoli. Their heads were very close to each other. She didn't know what he said, but Shiramoli smiled happily. Nalan Lan's hand. She was wondering why Murong An didn't come to see her when she was injured. So it was because he was with Shiramoli? So the rumor about the two of them being together was true? Lan, pay attention to the situation. Nalan he indifferently glanced at Murong An and said to Nalan Lan, "I know, father." Nalan Lan took a deep breath and suppressed the anger in her heart. Sima Yu watched as Nalan Lan and the others took their seats. She just so happened to be sitting at the side with Murong An beside her. Murong An was just coaxing Shiramoli happily when he felt someone sitting beside him. He subconsciously turned his head to take a look. When he saw a familiar figure, he was stunned. Feeling Murong An's gaze, Nalan Lan turned her head and lightly smiled. "Mr. Murong, long time no see." Cough cough. "Long time no see." Murong An was frightened by Nalan Lan's smile. He awkwardly turned his head and didn't look at her again. "Miss Nalan, long time no see." Shiramoli smiled and greeted Nalan Lan. "I heard from my father that you were seriously injured at Puluo mountain range. Are you fully recovered now?" Nalan Lan looked at Shiramoli holding Murong An's hand. Her eyes turned cold and she smiled. "Thank you for your concern, monsieur. I'm much better now. After all, our Nalan family spent so much to get the pill from your father. If it didn't work, then Great Master Shi's reputation would be in vain." Shiramoli's smile froze. This Nalan Lan actually dared to say that her father was extorting people in front of everyone? She clenched her teeth and said, "It's good that you're well. Previously, I said that I would go with Murong to see you. After all, you were good friends. It's normal to be concerned. But Murong just became my father's disciple and we're preparing for the wedding. We're too busy." "You're getting married?" Nalan Lan looked at Murong An and asked. Yes. Murong An braced himself and replied. "When the time comes, send an invitation to the Nalan family. Miss Nalan, you must come." Shiramoli smiled and said. Nalan Lan's hand under the table tightly clutched onto her skirt. She put on a fake smile and said, "Does Miss Shir really think that you two can get married? What does Miss Nalan mean?" Shiramoli's face darkened. "Nothing much. I'm just a hypocrite who likes the new and hates the old. Since Miss Shir likes him, then I hope that you two can really get together." Nalan Lan finished speaking and turned her head, no longer looking at the two of them. Shiramoli saw that Nalan Lan was no longer talking to them and snorted unwillingly. Sima Yu watched the good show opposite her with interest. This Nalan Lan was not easy to deal with. She did not flip out in front of everyone today because of the occasion. After a while, Shirley and Wu Lin arrived at the main hall. The representatives of the Weapon Master Guild, Beast Tamer Guild and Spirit Master Guild all entered. Looking at the situation, the banquet should be starting soon. Sima Yue looked at those people. Other than Wu Lin, the others looked relatively amiable. At this time, Sima Lai came in from outside and sat down. Sima Yue looked at him and he nodded. Seeing this, Sima Yue's lips curled into a smile. Very quickly, the Dongqin Kingdom's emperor walked in, accompanied by the first prince and the third prince. For some unknown reason, his complexion did not look too good. When he saw the people present, he forced a smile. Congratulations to your majesty on your birthday. May your majesty live a long and boundless life. Everyone present stood up to welcome him and congratulated him. Thank you everyone for coming to celebrate my birthday. Please take a seat. Wan Wufeng waved to everyone and said, Thank you, your majesty. Everyone sat down, leaving Wu Lin standing alone. Today is your majesty's birthday. My Alchemist Guild has specially prepared a small gift for your majesty. I hope that your majesty will not dislike it. Hearing this, Wan Wufeng smiled and said, What is President Wu saying? It is already very good that you are able to attend this prince's banquet. Wu Lin took out a box. An official came down from the side and took the box, handing it to Wan Wufeng. Your majesty, this is the 4th-tier Emperor Energy Pill that I have spent half a year searching for medicinal ingredients. It is specially refined for your majesty. Wu Lin said, This pill can repair a person's body. I heard that your majesty had once suffered an injury. After that, your majesty's body has not been very good. After taking this pill, your majesty's body will be completely healed. Really? Good. Wan Wufeng excitedly opened the box. Seeing that there was indeed a golden pill lying inside, he thought about how because of his injury, his body was left with a chronic illness. Therefore, his cultivation was always half the result with twice the effort. Seeing the Emperor Energy Pill, his excitement was beyond words. When the people below saw the pill in Wan Wufeng's hands, they all sighed. Sima Yue curled her lips. Wasn't it just the Emperor Energy Pill? What was there to be excited about? Website, please support this website. Chapter 115. Alright, thank you, President Wu. After Wan Wufeng finished speaking, he took the pill and swallowed it. Very quickly, he felt his body warm up, and the dull pain in the injured area was lessening. He was so happy that he nodded his head repeatedly. Wu Lin sat down and the Armament Masters Guild stood up, offering a spirit artifact to Wan Wufeng. Although this spirit tool was rare, but to Wan Wufeng, it was naturally not as attractive as the mighty Emperor Pill. Therefore, he only gave it a few glances before having the servant put it aside. Following that, the Beast Tamer Guild, the Spirit Beast Guild, and the various big clans gave all kinds of gifts. It was indeed an eye-opener for Sima Yue. However, there was no point in seeing too many gifts at once. This segment of gift-giving had unknowingly turned into a competition between the various major powers. Whoever gave a valuable or unique gift would gain more face. After a while, the gift-giving segment ended. The first prince clapped his hands and the palace maids came forward to take away the spirit fruits and pastries, replacing them with the main course of the banquet. Some singers and dancers came forward to perform. Banquets had always been the same since ancient times, and it was the same even in a different world. To Sima Yue, who was used to watching all kinds of galas in her past life, these programs really did not have much attraction. She gave Sima Lai a heads up and took advantage of the fact that no one was paying attention to her to quietly leave the main hall. The banquet lasted for a long time. Occasionally, some people would come out to take a breather. Sima Yue's departure did not attract anyone's attention. How boring. I wonder if I can go back earlier. Sima Yue walked alone in the palace. Seeing that the Nalan family didn't do anything, she couldn't sit still and wanted to go back. When she heard Sima Yue say that there was a man-made lake here, she followed her instincts and walked towards it. Before she reached it, she heard a dispute. She knew who it was and her heart leaped with joy. Her silhouette flashed into the fake mountain at the side. Recalling that she still had the sound stone with her, she took it out and poured her spiritual energy into it. The veined patterns on the sound stone began to move, indicating that it had begun to record the surrounding sounds. Murongen, what do you mean by this? Nalan Lan looked at Murongen with tears in her eyes. Her pitiful look made Murongen unconsciously gulp. This Nalan Lan was indeed beautiful, and indeed made people pity her. It was a pity that she was no longer of any use to him. Or rather, her use to him was far from being as useful as Shirimoli. However, who wouldn't want to take a bite of this fat meat that was delivered to their doorstep, let alone such a beautiful woman? If he could obtain the Alchemist Guild's nurturing and at the same time obtain the Nalan clan's support, then his future days would definitely be smoother. Thinking of this, his gaze returned to its previous gentleness. He took a step forward and held Nalan Lan's hand, saying, "Idiot, what do you mean by that? My heart is still with you. I'm still thinking about you." "Then what's going on between you and Shiramoli? When did you two get together? She wanted to get married? Then what is the relationship between us?" Nalan Lan also truly loved Murong, and seeing that he was still so gentle towards her, her heart softened. But when she thought of him and Shiramoli being so intimate with each other, her heart was still very angry. Murong and forcefully pulled Nalan Lan into his embrace. "She and I were just playing around." Murong and kissed Nalan Lan's forehead and said, "You also know that her father is Great Master Shirley. If I could learn alchemy from him, then my future would naturally be limitless. But you know what kind of person Shirley is. He's not easy to get along with. If there wasn't anyone to recommend him, he wouldn't even put me in his eyes. So I thought of a way to get close to her. I don't have any feelings for her. I only like you. You have to believe me." "Then when I was injured, why didn't you come to see me?" Nalan Lan heard Murong An's words and her heart believed him a little. However, she still had some resentment. "At that time I was busy dealing with Shiramoli. In order to make her believe me, I had no choice but to accompany her." Murong An said, "However, I also sent people to inquire about your situation." "Really?" Nalan Lan looked at Murong An. She already believed his words in her heart. Murong An saw her like this and knew that she already believed him. He leaned over and kissed her lips, saying, "Of course it's true. We've been together for so long, how could I like another woman? I'm only using her." "Then you shouldn't be together with her anymore," Nalan Lan said. "How can I do that?" Murong An said loudly. Soon after, he realized that his reaction was too big. He comforted her gently, "I haven't learned how to refine pills yet. If I were to fall out with Shiramoli now, then all my time would have been wasted. But I don't want to see you and Shiramoli being so close." Nalan Lan said unhappily. "Idiot, you have to remember. I'm only playing around with her. My heart only has you. There's no one else." Murong An comforted her. After he finished speaking, he leaned over and kissed her. His hands moved up and down restlessly. Sima Yue saw that the two of them seemed to be a little heated up. She guessed that she had heard enough, so she kept her sound stone and quietly left. However, after thinking about it, she couldn't let the two of them off so easily. After walking a distance, she told one of the guards that she seemed to have dropped something by the lake and asked him to help her look for it. Seeing the few guards walk towards the lake, she smiled evilly and turned around to return to the main hall. Before she reached the entrance of the main hall, she heard Nalan He's voice from inside. "Your Majesty, since the Sima family has that mysterious person, and you're not even willing to talk about it, are you not putting your Majesty in your eyes?" Sima Yue's heart sank. This Nalan He really came. Sima Lai remained silent. He thought that Nalan He would find a way to find out about the Sima family's pills, but he didn't think that he would say it in front of everyone. "General Sima, you really found such a powerful person? Since that's the case, why don't you let everyone see?" Wan Wufeng's words carried the meaning of an inquiry, but his expression and tone were completely different. It carried a sinister coldness. It's not that I don't want to say it, but that kid doesn't like to be flamboyant," Sima Lai said. "Grandfather, since everyone wants to know, why don't you tell them? Otherwise they'll think that our Sima family really has something that can't be seen." Sima Yue walked in from outside and said with a smile, "Your Majesty, actually it's not that grandfather doesn't want to say it, but this kid asked grandfather not to say it in case everyone thinks that this kid is trying to please the crowd." "Your Sima Yue?" Although Wan Wufeng had never seen her before, but she was sitting together with Sima Lai and now she was calling Sima Lai grandfather. Other than those few that he had seen before, she must be Sima Yue. But wasn't he trash? How could he be the mysterious person that Nalan He spoke of? Chapter 116. Sima Yue bowed towards Wan Wufeng and said, "This little one Sima Yue greets your Majesty. I wish your Majesty a long life." Wan Wufeng looked at Sima Yue admitting her identity and said, "What you said just now, you're the mysterious person from the Sima family?" "Your Majesty is wise. In fact, there is no mysterious person. These are just the speculations of the outside world about our family." Sima Yue smiled and said, "It's because we don't know where our pills came from, that's why we let our imagination run wild." So you're saying that the pills sold by the Sima family recently were all refined by you? Wan Wufeng said. This little one is not talented, but under Master Feng's guidance, I learned a little alchemy. Sima Yue replied. Teacher Feng? Wan Wufeng looked at the old principal. The old principal glanced at Sima Yue and said, I'm not sure either. Teacher Feng himself is rather mysterious. He didn't tell me that he doesn't know how to refine pills, so I'm not sure either. But he does care a lot about Yue. Wan Wufeng nodded. When Feng Zhixing came to the academy, the old principal had also told him about it. He didn't mention his identity, only that he came from above. Therefore, even if it was him, he still had to give in to him. However, Sima Yue, when did you start cultivating? He didn't say that she was a good-for-nothing, but that was what he meant. Your Majesty, this kid has been cultivating for less than a year. Sima Yue said, then bowed to Shirley. I'm sure Master Shi still remembers the time when my grandfather used 100-year-old ginseng to exchange for 2 level 3 pills from you. I don't know what happened at that time, but I was able to cultivate. Speaking of which, it's all thanks to Master Shi's pills. Otherwise I'd still be a cripple. Congratulations then. Master Shi said in a strange tone. Although he liked it when others praised the usefulness of his pills, for the Sima family that he did not get along with, it was better to have one more trash than one more spirit master. Nalan family head, do you still have any questions? Wan Wufeng looked at Nalan He and asked. Nalan He did not expect that the mysterious alchemist of the Sima family was actually Sima Yue, which really gave him a great shock. A year ago she was still unable to cultivate, but now she was standing here as an alchemist. This made him and the others feel that it was too inconceivable. Your Majesty, as far as we know, that alchemist is a level 2 alchemist. Sima Yue was still unable to cultivate a year ago, but within a year not only did she become an alchemist, but also a level 2 alchemist. I'm sure I'm not the only one who has doubts about this. After Wan Wufeng heard Nalan He's words, he finally remembered the impossible factor. Who could cultivate in less than a year, and even become a second-grade alchemist? Sima Yue and Nalan clan head is right. Did you really only start cultivating a year ago? Wan Wufeng asked. I'm sure everyone has heard about how I was beaten to the brink of death. If I knew how to cultivate, I'm sure I wouldn't have been beaten so badly. Sima Yue said, regarding this matter, Murong En and Nalan Lan can testify for me. After all, they saw me being beaten with their own eyes. Seeing how confident Sima Yue was, everyone believed that she did not know how to cultivate in the past. After all, it was easy to find the person involved and ask, so she could not possibly lie. When Shirmoli heard Sima Yue mention the two of them, she realized that Murong En and Nalan Lan were not in the main hall. What you're saying is, you really went from a person who could not cultivate, to an alchemist in a year's time. Furthermore, you're a level 2 alchemist? Nalan, he said. Sima Yue touched her own face and smiled narcissistically. This talent is here. I can't do anything about it. Her brothers were all amused by her appearance. Impossible. Shirley said loudly, it's impossible for a normal person to become an alchemist without at least a few years. There's a huge gap between each level and it's extremely difficult to cross it. How could you become a level 2 alchemist in a year's time? He spent close to 10 years to become a level 2 alchemist. Until now he was only a level 3 alchemist. If Sima Yue could become a level 2 alchemist in a year, then what was he? Sima Yue helplessly shrugged her shoulders and said, you can't do it, but that doesn't mean others can't. Shiramoli always thought that she was a genius among geniuses for spending a few years to reach the level of a level 2 alchemist. She never thought that Sima Yue would surpass her in less than a year. She looked at Sima Yue mockingly and said, Sima Yue, since you said you're a level 2 alchemist, then do you dare to refine a level 2 pill in front of everyone? Reverse psychology? Sima Yue raised her eyebrows, but it has no effect on me. Shiramoli saw that Sima Yue was unwilling and said, Your Majesty, just now the Nalan family head said that the Sima family's alchemist is a level 2 alchemist. Sima Yue said that person is herself, but what if she can't refine a level 2 pill? Then wouldn't the mysterious person be someone else? Aren't General Sima and the rest lying to your Majesty? Wan Wufeng heard this and his face darkened. Even an outsider like him knew how difficult it was to become an alchemist. To become a level 2 alchemist was even harder. Hearing what they said, it really was possible that Sima Yue was lying to him. Sima Yue, since it's like this, then refine a level 2 pill in front of everyone. It's fine if you can refine it, but if you can't, or if you're not even an alchemist, then don't blame me for punishing the Sima family. There was no discussion, it was a direct order. Sima Lai wanted to open his mouth to say something, but was stopped by Sima Yue. She smiled and said, "Since everyone has their suspicions, then there's no harm in having me refine the pill. However, Your Majesty, if I can refine a level 2 pill, then shouldn't the Nalan family head apologize to me for their suspicions?" Wan Wu Feng glanced at Nalan He, and the two of them immediately replied, "If you can really refine the pill, my Nalan family will definitely apologize to you." Okay. Sima Yue said, "Grandfather, go back to your seat and watch Yue refine the pill." "Just do your best," Sima Lai said. If she succeeded, then the Sima family would be able to smoothly pass this time. If she failed, then the rest would be left to him. She didn't need any pressure, she just needed to refine the pill properly. Sima Yue understood his meaning and smiled as she nodded. "Do you need a pill furnace or something like that?" the old principal asked. "Thank you for your concern, principal. As an alchemist, I naturally carry the necessary things with me. However, Your Majesty, please allow me to find a table." After Sima Yue finished speaking, a pill furnace appeared in front of everyone. Chapter 117. Read 336. Mao San Quan and Little Seven saw Sima Yue and Sima Lu Yin leaving and walked over. Seeing Sima Yue's unstable emotions, they asked with concern, "Yu, are you all right?" Sima Yue shook her head and kept everything. "Let's go back. It's almost dawn." Mao San Quan said, "All right." When Sima Yue and the rest returned to the inn, the eastern sky was already turning bright. Mao San Quan did not return to his room. There was not much time left before he left. After Sima Yue returned, she entered the spirit pagoda and stared blankly at the things that Sima Lu Yin gave her. When Little Roar and the others saw her like this, they all looked at her from afar, but did not dare to approach. Qi Yin transformed into his human form and came to her side. "Your emotions are very unstable right now. You can't compete like this." Crimson Flame said. "I know. But I can't calm down now." Sima Yue turned around and looked at Qi Yin. "Qi Yin, how big is this world? Every time I think I know enough, I find that what I know is just the tip of the iceberg. You were injured back then and slept in the egg for so many years. Now that you've only recovered 10 to 20%, you're already so powerful. Yes, then where are you from? How powerful was the real power? Are you from this world? What was above the Imperial Emperor? Is there anyone else who can become an Imperial Emperor?" "You think too much." Crimson Flame said, "You'll know how big the world is when you grow up. Thinking too much now won't do you any good. I also know that knowing too much will affect one's Dao heart before one's cultivation level reaches that level." Sima Yue said, "But there are always so many things that I can't help but come into contact with these things. They press down on me and make me feel tired from time to time." "You just feel tired because you have too many things on your plate." Crimson Flame said, "You are still young and have too many things to do. Moreover, many things are not for someone of your age and strength to interact with. After a long time you will feel tired." It was obvious that he knew too much that he shouldn't know, which affected his Dao heart. What you need to do now is not to think about those things. Just focus on what's in front of you. Firm your Dao heart, do you understand? Otherwise you might be stuck here forever. "I understand." Sima Yue nodded. "I will adjust my mentality." "I believe you will." Crimson Flame said, "But your eyes still look tired. Why don't you not think about anything and have a good night's sleep? You can compete well tomorrow." "Let me try," Sima Yue said. She originally thought that she wouldn't be able to sleep, but she didn't expect that the moment she laid down on the bed, she would feel sleepy. She quickly fell into a deep sleep. She felt as if she had slept for as long as a century, but it also felt as if she had only slept for a short while. After waking up, she felt refreshed. Her mind seemed to have emptied and was no longer filled with all kinds of things. Qi Yin was sitting beside her. Seeing her open her eyes, he said, "Go out, everyone is waiting for you." Okay. Sima Yue sat up and hugged Qi Yin, saying, "Thank you." Qi Yin didn't push her away but patted her back gently and said, "Go." "Yes, I'll definitely bring back the prize. Wait for me here." After she finished speaking, she left in a flash. Little Roar flew over and landed in Qi Yan's arms, saying, "She's much better now. You didn't waste so much energy. She just needs to relax herself." Qi Yan said, "I just let her have a good night's sleep." Sima Yue knew that this wasn't just a good night's sleep, but it allowed her to relax from the bottom of her heart. No matter how difficult the road ahead was, she could only take one step at a time. There was no shortcut. After thinking through this, she regained her previous state of mind. Things had to be solved one by one, wasn't it? When she came outside, everyone was already prepared and waiting for her to come out. Mao Sanquan knew that Sima Yue had experienced a lot of things and needed to calm down, so he didn't rush her. Seeing her come out, he said, "Let's go." Sima Yue gave them an apologetic smile and followed everyone to the plaza. When they came to the entrance, they happened to meet people from Divine Devil Valley. Sima Yue went over to greet them. "Greetings to senior uncle and senior brother." She bowed to Liang Wu Ming. "I heard that you went into closed-door cultivation. I was worried that you wouldn't be able to come out in time to participate in the competition." Ying Baichuan smiled and said, "I think you're hiding right. Senior brother is so smart." Sima Yue gave him a look. "I wanted to meet you guys that day, but you guys went to the pill subdivision. I was looked at like an idiot by a group of people, so I went into closed-door cultivation to revise my alchemy knowledge. You have to do well in this competition. You're my Divine Devil Valley's Junior Valley Master. If you get good results, my Divine Devil Valley will be proud too." Liang Wu Ming said. "I will work hard." Sima Yue said. "When are you going back to Divine Devil Valley?" Ying Baichuan asked. Sima Yue looked at Mao Sanquan and said, "After I settle the things on hand, I'll go to the valley to take a look. Before that, I have to get good results first so that I can go openly." "I've talked to Mao Sanquan. He said that with your innate talent and current strength, if you want to go into closed-door cultivation in the academy, you can come to the central region to develop. I feel that you can come to the central region to cultivate properly." Liang Wu Ming said. "I'll consider it." Sima Yue replied. "Go back, they're still waiting for you." Go ahead." Sima Yue returned to the academy's team and entered the competition grounds with everyone else. "Master, when will junior brother really come to the valley?" Ying Baichuan asked as he looked at Sima Yue's back view. "I think it should be soon." Liang Wu Ming said, "He's been through more and more things now. It's more suitable for him to come to the central region. He understands this too. It's been 10 to 20 years since the people in the valley knew about him. But he hasn't gone back yet." Ying Baichuan said, "If it wasn't for the fact that the Blood Ring had decided on him, I'm afraid many people would have jumped out to cause trouble. When they see him, they won't cause trouble anymore. On the contrary, they will be happy that your martial uncle found such a good disciple." Liang Wu Ming didn't take those objections to heart. Firstly, the Blood Ring only recognized her. Secondly, her innate talent was there. Others couldn't wait to pull her away. Those old fellows in Divine Devil Valley wouldn't be so stupid to push her out. Sima Yue followed the team in, and after she went to the resting area, she started to size up the contestants this time. She realized that there were many faces that she didn't see last time. She also realized that Kang Junchul had turned into the real Kang Junchul. Jiang Junxian was gone. Chapter 118. Fatty Chu chuckled twice and said, "If you didn't have anything to do, you definitely wouldn't have attended such a boring wine party. Since you're going, you must have something to do." "Smart." Sima Yue gave him a look of approval. Fatty Chu raised his chin proudly and said, "Of course. What do you need me to do?" "It's actually very simple. Come here and I'll tell you." When Sima Yue arrived at the palace where the banquet was held, she saw that most of the younger generation had already arrived. Among the many guests, she immediately spotted Murong-en. At this moment, Murong-en was talking to Shiremo Li about something. He was probably explaining why he left earlier. Nalan Lan and another girl from the Nalan clan were not far away, holding a wine cup and chatting with someone else. She glanced at Murong-en from time to time, paying attention to their conversation. Fifth young master. Sima Yue attracted everyone's attention the moment she entered. Everyone was still not used to the fact that the former trash had suddenly become a genius. But even if he wasn't used to it, geniuses would always be praised wherever they went. Therefore, many people wanted to use this opportunity to establish a relationship with her. Sima Yue didn't have the time or energy to deal with these people, so she was indifferent to them. Soon, some people tactfully stopped bothering her. Murong-en, Shiremo Li, and Nalan Lan naturally noticed that Sima Yue had entered, and their gazes towards her were filled with hatred. He was obviously a piece of trash. How did he become a precious alchemist? When Shiremo Li saw Sima Yue, she almost crushed the wine glass in her hand. In the past, she was publicly acknowledged as a genius. She was able to touch the barrier of a second-ranked alchemist before she was 20 years old. However, now that Sima Yue appeared, she was immediately defeated. This was something that she, who was used to being revered, could not accept. At this moment, Fatty Chu suddenly said something loudly. The volume of his voice attracted the attention of everyone in the main hall. Sima Yue pretended to tug at Fatty Chu and said, "Keep your voice down. If someone hears you, we'll be in trouble." When she spoke, she even glanced over at Shiramo Lee and the others, as if she was afraid that they would hear her. Shiramo Lee's attention was originally attracted by Fatty Chu's exclamation. Seeing Sima Yue's gaze on her, a trace of unease surfaced in her heart. Could it be that she was speaking ill of him? As he thought about it, his legs involuntarily moved towards that direction. Fatty Chu and Sima Yue turned their backs to everyone and whispered, "Yue, did you really hear that? Of course, when I went out just now, I happened to see Murongen and Nalan Lan flirting by the lake, so I went over to listen for a while." Sima Yue said, "That pitiful Shiramo Lee is still in the dark, being played around by Murongen." "Really? You can't speak carelessly. If Shiramo Lee heard this, she would think that you're slandering Murongen." Fatty Chu said, "Of course I won't speak carelessly. At that time, I even used the sound stone to record their conversation. If you want to hear it, I'll let you hear it when the banquet ends." Sima Yue finished speaking and drank a mouthful of wine, waiting for Fatty Chu to continue. "Sima Yue, what nonsense are you spouting?" Before Fatty Chu could speak, Shiramo Lee scolded them from behind. Sima Yue and Fatty Chu's bodies trembled as they slowly turned around. They laughed and said, "Shiramo Lee, why are you eavesdropping on other people's conversation? What did you just say?" Shiramo Lee looked coldly at the two of them. "Nothing much." Sima Yue and Fatty Chu's eyes darted around, but they did not want to speak the truth, purposely keeping her in suspense. "Hurry up and tell me, what did you just say you saw?" Shiramo Lee saw that they were not speaking and shouted loudly. Her shout attracted the attention of everyone in the main hall. Thinking about how she made things difficult for Sima Yue in the main hall, everyone guessed that the two of them had gotten into an argument again. Fatty Chu looked at Sima Yue with a troubled expression and said, "Yue, why don't you just tell her, lest others think that you did something to her? If the Alchemist Guild pursues the matter, you'll be in trouble again." Hearing Fatty Chu's words, everyone guessed that Sima Yue might have done something to take revenge on Shiramo Lee. Sima Yue looked at the people around her and saw that everyone's eyes were filled with emotions. She sighed and said, "You're the one who wanted me to say this, so don't blame me when the time comes." What bad things did you say about Murongen just now?" Shiramo Lee said. "I just saw him whispering sweet nothings to someone else." Sima Yue said, "As a fellow alchemist, let me give you a piece of advice. This Murongen is not sincere towards you, so it's better for you to leave him as soon as possible." Sima Yue, what nonsense are you spouting? Murongen did not think that this matter would involve him as he walked over and shouted. Sima Yue shrugged her shoulders and said, "Aren't you the clearest on whether I'm spouting nonsense or not?" Shiramo Lee looked at the two of them suspiciously as she thought about the time when Murongen and Nalan Lan were not around. She asked, "Murong, you really didn't do anything to let me down? Amoli, you still don't believe my words? This Sima Yue has always had improper thoughts towards me, so it's not impossible for her to break us up." Murongen did not think that Sima Yue would find out about the matter between him and Nalan Lan. He did not hesitate to use the scandal of Sima Yue chasing after him to divert everyone's attention. "Che, a person like you who is fickle and two-timing, you're not even fit to carry Yue's shoes." Fatty Chu looked at Murongen with disdain, saying, "Yu, didn't you just say that you have evidence? Take it out for everyone to see. Let's see if you are slandering him and trying to break them apart." "This." Sima Yue hesitated for a moment and said, "This isn't good, right? What's not good about it?" Fatty Chu was anxious. "This fellow is already ruining your reputation here, what are you still hesitating for? What evidence do you have?" Shiramo Lee looked at Sima Yue, "You better really have evidence. If you're slandering Murongen, then don't blame the Alchemist Guild for rejecting you outside the door." "Threat?" Sima Yue raised her eyebrows. "Alright, although I don't have any thoughts about joining the Alchemist Guild in the future, with so many people watching, I can't bear the burden of being slandered. Shiramo Lee, I hope you don't regret this." After she finished speaking, she took out the sound stone and inserted spiritual energy into it. The sound stone's veined patterns began to move and a conversation was played out. It was the conversation between Murongen and Nalan Lan at the lakeside. Hearing this conversation, everyone present was stunned. Shiramo Lee did not dare to believe it at first, but after that she became extremely angry. She turned around and looked at the ashen-faced Murongen and slapped him. "Acting according to the situation, you're indeed a good actor. Lowly thing." Chapter 119. When Nalan Lan heard the conversation from the sound stone, she was secretly delighted in her heart. This way it would be impossible for Murongen to be together with Shiramo Lee. She did not expect that in the blink of an eye Shiramo Lee would give him a slap. She hurriedly walked over, pulled Murongan over and shouted at Shiramoli, "Why did you hit him?" Shiramoli snorted coldly and said, "Not only will I hit him, I'll also hit you." As she spoke, she slapped Nalan Lan. Nalan Lan wasn't a weakling either. Seeing Shiramoli's attack, she stretched out her hand to block it, but was pulled back by Murongan. "Nalan Lan, stop messing around." Nalan Lan's hand was held, but Shiramoli's wasn't, so, pa! 5 finger marks immediately appeared on Nalan Lan's face. Nalan Lan was stunned by this slap. She blankly turned her head and looked at Murongan. "Why are you pulling me?" Right now, Murongan did not have the time to care about Nalan Lan. He let go of her hand, walked in front of Shiramoli and said, "Emoli, don't believe those words. She was the one who was pestering me and even seducing me. In order to deal with her, I said those words. You have to believe me." In front of everyone's eyes, Nalan Lan couldn't believe her ears. She covered her face and took a few steps back. What did you say?" Murongan glared at her and said, "I stopped liking you a long time ago. It was always you who kept pestering me. Weren't you the one who kept pestering me to go to the lakeside?" "Murongan, you bastard." Nalan Lan was provoked by Murongan's words and scolded loudly. Tears of grievance flowed down her cheeks. "Emoli, you have to believe me. I really only like you." Murongan ignored Nalan Lan and only focused on explaining to Shiramoli. The Nalan family and the Alchemist Guild simply couldn't be compared, so he couldn't throw away Shiramoli's thigh. How come your voice doesn't sound like you're being forced at all? It sounds like you're enjoying it." Fatty Chu suddenly interjected. Everyone else nodded. They didn't hear the impatience and coercion in his voice. It sounded like he was the one who took the initiative. Shiramoli did not say anything. She only stared coldly at Murongan and Nalan Lan. Seeing that Murongan had reached out to grab her hand, she forcefully flung it away and coldly said, "Murongan, we're finished. I can't afford to have a husband like you, and my father can't afford to have a disciple like you." After saying that, she turned around and ran out. Jasmine. Murongan wanted to chase after them but was stopped by Nalan Lan. "Murongan, if you chase after me today, I will cut all ties with you." Murongan turned around and glanced at Nalan Lan before he ran out without hesitation. Nalan Lan didn't think that Murongan would run out without thinking. She was stunned for a moment before she suddenly smiled foolishly. "Murongan, you win. I will definitely make you regret this. Let's go." The girl who came with Nalan Lan didn't dare to say a word as she followed her and left. When they left the main hall, Nalan Lan seemed to have just remembered the main culprit. She turned around and fiercely glared at Sima Yue. The hatred in her eyes was so thick that it seemed like it could melt into water. Sima Yue smiled at Nalan Lan with an, "I'm actually doing this for your own good" look. She was so angry that she turned around and left. Now that the main characters had left, Fatty Chu waved at everyone and said, all right. The good show has ended. Let's eat and drink." Wan Baichuan left for a while. When he returned, he realized that the atmosphere wasn't right. He called the palace maids over and asked them. Only then did he know that such a big thing had happened. Looking at the 2 people drinking alone in the corner of the main hall, he didn't believe that it was unintentional. However, Sima Yue was now a pill master. Even if it was him, he couldn't casually question her. In the end, he could only sigh and let them be. After staying at the banquet for a while, Sima Yue and Fatty Chu went to find Wan Baichuan to tell him that they wanted to go back. Wan Baichuan politely said a few words and let them leave. After leaving the palace, Sima Yue and Fatty Chu then laughed out loud. After holding it in for an entire night, they were really suffocated to death. "Yue, did you see Murongan's expression at that time?" His face turned green. "Haha, I'm dying of laughter." Sima Yue laughed and said, "After being blacklisted by the 2 big powers, you can imagine how Murongan's days will be. Right, this Murongan really isn't a good thing. He deserves to have this kind of ending." Fatty Chu nodded. "But Yue, why did you think of such a scheme?" "What?" Sima Yue looked at the full moon in the sky and muttered in her heart. She was just fulfilling the promise she made to the original owner. The matter that happened at the banquet spread throughout the capital the next day. After Shirley and Nalan he heard their daughter's cries. They indeed blacklisted Murong and Nalan. He ordered that all the shops under the Nalan family's name were prohibited from entering the Murong family and stopped all transactions with them. Shirley was even more ruthless. He directly ordered the Alchemist Guild to stop supplying them with pills and not sell any pills to them in the future. When the Murong family heard about the sanctions imposed on them by the 2 big powers, they were stunned. Later on, they heard that it was because of Murong An's matter that was exposed and he was severely punished. In order to appease their anger and obtain the forgiveness of the Alchemist Guild and Nalan family, he was expelled from the Capital Institute and was sent to a small place to manage the family business. Only then did the two big powers retract their sanctions on the Morong family. When she received this news, Sima Yue was sunbathing in the courtyard and eating spirit fruits. Thinking that Morong and would not be able to make a comeback in this lifetime, she was in a good mood. Does this count as me giving you an explanation? A light breeze blew past as if giving her a faint reply. She leaned against the chaise lounge and closed her eyes with a face full of enjoyment. Chun Jian walked over and saw the tranquil aura emitting from her body. Looking at her beautiful face, she was stunned for a moment. What's the matter? When Chun Jian walked in, she felt it and saw that she did not speak, so she asked. Chun Jian came back to her senses and said, "Young master, the general sent someone to invite you over." "Grandfather is back? I know you can leave." Chun Jian bowed and left the courtyard. Sima Yue finished the spirit fruit in her hand before getting up and walking towards Sima Lai's study. Ever since they returned from the banquet, Sima Lai left early and returned late every day. Sima Yue had not seen him yet. She did not expect him to return so early today. But why did he call her over? When she arrived at Sima Lai's courtyard, the guards all bowed to her. She pushed open the door to the study and saw Sima Lai in a daze. "Grandfather, you were looking for me?" Sima Lai came back to his senses and waved at Sima Yue, saying, "Yue, you're here. Come and sit." Sima Yue walked over and saw Sima Lai's restless expression, saying, "Grandfather, did something happen?" Chapter 120. "Yu, I want to give up on the plan to exterminate the Nalan clan," Sima Lai said. "Why?" Sima Yue looked at Sima Lai in astonishment. "Is it because of that person from Puluo Mountain Range?" Sima Lai nodded his head and said, "Although I have already caused His Majesty to be suspicious of the Nalan clan, if we continue to fight with the Nalan clan, even if our clan wins in the end, we will still have to pay a price. Rather than that, I would rather focus on improving everyone's strength." Seeing the worry on Sima Lai's face, Sima Yue's heart was filled with doubt. Just how much power did the main family have to make him so worried? "But Grandpa, if we retreat, then the Nalan clan has already shown weakness to us." Sima Lai said, "It should be because of your relationship with them. They also realized that fighting with us would not end well, so they came looking for me 2 days ago, hoping that we would let them go. Of course, they will also give us a lot of compensation." "Because of me?" Sima Yue blinked and said, "Aren't I at the same level as their alchemist? Why would they take the initiative to give in? You still don't know what kind of commotion you have caused in the entire Dongqin kingdom?" Sima Lai looked at the puzzled Sima Yue. "Ever since you revealed your strength as a second-tier alchemist at the banquet, everyone knew that you only spent less than a year to become a second-tier alchemist. Everyone treated you as a genius." "I'm not a genius." Sima Yue rubbed his nose and ignored the compliments. Sima Lai smiled. "That Nalan clan's alchemist seems to be on the same level as us. Both of them are second-grade alchemists, but in everyone's eyes, it won't be long before you have even better results. Furthermore, your rallying power is much stronger than that of their alchemist. They are not retreating because of your current strength but because of your potential." "Hehe, I didn't know that I was so powerful." Sima Yue smiled and said, "Since Grandfather wants to let them go, then let them go. Anyway, that Nalan Chi has already been dealt with by me. That Nalan Lan was expelled from the academy and abandoned by Morongen. She didn't have a good ending either. By the way, do my brothers know?" "I haven't told them yet." Sima Lai said, "I was going to wait for you to agree before telling them. As long as you agree, they won't have much objection." "Okay, then let's do as Grandpa says," Sima Yue said. "All right. If there's nothing else, I'll head back first." Sima Yue stood up and said. Sima Lai waved his hand and she turned to leave. Looking at her back, he always had a kind of uneasy feeling lingering in his heart. It was this feeling that made him give up on dealing with the Nalan family. After returning to her courtyard, Sima Yue sent Chun Jian and the others away and entered the Soul Pearl by herself. "What's wrong?" Emo Sha felt someone suddenly appear in front of him, so he opened his eyes and asked. Sima Yue looked at the golden snake fruit tree and said, "Do you know how to refine the golden snake fruit into a pill?" Emo Sha furrowed his brows and said, "It would be best if he could refine the 100 Revolutions pill." 100 Revolutions pill? What kind of pill is that? Sima Yue asked. The 100 Revolutions pill's level isn't high, so it can't directly increase a person's strength. However, it has the effect of cleansing the muscles and marrow, improving a person's physique and promoting future cultivation. Emo Sha said. Is it easy to refine? It's not difficult. Emo Sha said, this is a type of pill from ancient times. Later on, because of the loss of the pill recipe and the rarity of the golden snake fruit, it slowly disappeared. If you were to refine it, what's the success rate? If it was when I was alive, 100%. If you were to inject your spiritual energy, it would be 80%. Sima Yue sucked in a breath of air. 100% success rate. Was this pill's requirement too low, or was he too powerful? What about the other ingredients? There's everything here. Emo Sha said, however, refining this requires a lot of energy. I can't do it in my current state. How long will it take? Emo Sha glanced at her and said, that depends on how many you need to refine. One golden snake fruit can refine 8 to 10 pills. You have 4 now, so it depends on how many you want to refine. That's right, one person can only eat 2 pills at most. How much it can improve depends on the person's physique. More than 2 pills will have no effect. Sima Yue calculated in her heart. Including herself, there were a total of 10 people. That would mean she would need 20 pills. Sensing her thoughts, Emo Sha directly said, this 100 revolutions pill is useless to you. You don't have to take yourself into consideration. Why? Sima Yue was shocked. When you formed a contract with that egg, it already used the nirvana flames to transform your body. Compared to the nirvana flames, this 100 revolutions pill has no effect on you. Emo Sha said. If you didn't mention it, I would have forgotten about that Crimson Flame guy. Sima Yue said. Ever since she had formed a contract with Crimson Flame in the Puluo mountain range, it had been quietly staying in the contract space, and had never taken the initiative to speak a word. Every time she tried to sense it, she would discover that it was sleeping, and as time passed, she slowly began to ignore it. The pain she had to endure when the nirvana flames transformed her body made her subconsciously shiver. Emo Sha looked at Sima Yue's expression and thought that this guy's luck was too good. How many people had heard of the nirvana flames and the spirit beast that possessed it, but they had never had the chance to see it. Even he had spent a lot of effort to find it, but there was no news at all. What he did not expect was that he had actually been neighbors with that spirit beast for so many years. He also did not expect that in the end, it would be this little girl who would form a contract with it. No, to be more accurate, it actually recognized her as its owner. Moreover, it took the initiative to recognize her as its owner. Seeing her like this, she must have forgotten about that guy. The only person who would treat Crimson Flame like this was her. Since it's useless to me, then it's not mine. Excluding my 2 pills, I need 18 pills. Then I'll refine 2 pills first. If it's not enough, I'll add more. Sima Yue said. I'll refine it for you in half a month. Emo Sha said. Okay. She knew that every time she let Emo Sha refine pills, it would use up his spiritual energy. So when she heard that it would take half a month, she did not feel that it was inappropriate. After she finished talking with Emo Sha, she went to the pill refining room to refine some pills for the Sima family's shop. Seeing that the pills she had refined in the past 2 days were enough to sell for a while, she left in a flash. She let Chun Jian deliver the pills to Sima Lai, then began to meditate to recover her spiritual energy. Thinking about how she would be able to refine pills to improve their physiques in 15 days, she had to seize the time to increase her own strength. Originally, she thought that the 15th day would arrive very quickly, but she did not think that the unforeseen event would come so suddenly. Sima Lai and the others did not even wait for her to refine the 100 revolutions pill. Chapter 121. A few days later, it was time for classes to start again. Since she had given up on the battle with the Nalan clan, Sima Yue returned to the academy, only sending people to collect the pills from time to time. Once she returned to the dormitory, Sima Yue saw the 4 people standing in the courtyard. Cough cough, what are you all doing here? Seeing Bei Gong Tang and the others pulling long faces like judges, she laughed and asked. Tell us, are we going to force you to confess or are you going to confess honestly? Wei Ziqi said. Confess what? Sima Yue blinked her eyes. When did you become an alchemist? We lived with you and didn't find out. If it wasn't for the banquet this time, I'm afraid we wouldn't have known that there was a second-ranked alchemist among us. Bei Gong Tang said. Fatty Chu came to Sima Yue's side and patted her shoulder, saying, Yue, it's not that I don't want to speak up for you this time, but if you don't confess honestly, they won't let you off. It started last year. Last year when I was able to cultivate, I accidentally came into contact with alchemy and slowly learned how to do it. Sima Yue rubbed her nose. Actually, it's nothing much. You're so busy every day, that's why you didn't notice me. No matter what, it's the truth that you've been hiding from us. In order to express your apology, you have to cook a big meal for us to make up for our hurt feelings. Ouyang Fei finally revealed his motive this time. Sima Yue looked at the few of them and said, "All right, no problem. I'll cook a big meal for you this afternoon." Actually, she also knew that each of them had their own secrets. They didn't really want her to tell them the truth, they just wanted to extort her. However, it was good that cooking was her specialty, so it wasn't difficult to invite them. Seeing that Sima Yue agreed, everyone's long faces relaxed. "I want to eat Kung Pao chicken," Ouyang Fei said. "I want to eat Sichuan boiled fish. Bei Gong Tang's taste wasn't ordinary. Mine is a little simpler. Just give me whatever tastes good." Although Wei Ziqi's request seemed simple, it was actually the most difficult. "Since Yue has already agreed, then let's go do our own things and wait for lunch," Fatty Chu said. "You call us when you're done." Bei Gong Tang turned around and returned to her own house after speaking. Wei Ziqi and Ouyang Fei also left, leaving Fatty Chu and Sima Yue in the courtyard with Station Master Li. "That's right, Yue. Teacher Feng sent someone to pass on a message. He said that if you come to the academy today, it would be best if you go look for him before the sky turns dark." Fatty Chu left after he finished speaking. Sima Yue could not help but laugh as she looked at them. If they wanted to eat her cooking, they should have just said so. Why did they have to go through so much trouble? Thinking of what Fatty Chu had said before he left, it seemed like Feng Zhixing wanted him to give an explanation for using him as a shield. Perhaps it was because she knew that he would help her keep her secret, so when Wan Wufeng asked, she subconsciously mentioned him. Sighing, she resigned herself to her fate and entered the kitchen. She would first prepare lunch for everyone before looking for Feng Zhixing. When she took out the ingredients, Little Spirit had already prepared them for her, so she quickly prepared a table full of dishes. Now, everyone's noses were even more sensitive than the spirit beasts. She did not even call for them to come, but everyone had already entered the kitchen and very consciously started to eat. Sima Yue brought out the last of the soup. They had already eaten half of the dishes from before. She was fiercely shocked by their speed. She never knew that they had such high battle prowess. When they were eating, Wei Ziqi and the rest asked about the Sima family and the Nalan family. When they heard that they had settled things peacefully, they were a little surprised. Sima Yue did not explain too much. There were some things that she could not say. Everyone was smart. Seeing her like this, they knew that it was inconvenient and did not continue to ask. After lunch, Sima Yue hesitated in the house for a while before going to Feng Zhixing's office. "Come in." Before she knocked on the door, a voice came from inside. The hand that was knocking on the door changed to pushing the door open. The moment she entered, she saw Feng Zhixing sitting behind the desk. Feng Zhixing's back was originally facing the door. When he heard her footsteps, he sat in the chair and turned around to face her. "Teacher Feng, you were looking for me?" Sima Yue asked. "Yes." Feng Zhixing looked at Sima Yue and did not continue speaking. Cough, I had no other choice at that time, so I could only use teacher. Sima Yue took the initiative to explain. "How come I didn't know that I can refine pills? And I even accepted such a powerful disciple like you?" Feng Zhixing raised his eyebrows. When he knew that Sima Yue was a second-grade alchemist, he was also quite surprised. Compared to her talent, it was extremely rare even in the higher levels. He thought back to when the principal came back and talked about the banquet and asked him if he really accepted Sima Yue as his disciple. After his surprise, he helped her to cover up her lie. Teacher's identity is mysterious and his position is high. Normal people would not dare to ask if you know how to refine pills. Sima Yue said, "So even if I said it, no one would come to find trouble with you. Also, you have more prestige. If I said that you taught me, everyone would believe me. Then how did you know that I would help you cover up your lie?" Feng Zhixing laughed in his heart. This girl used to be so wary of him, but now she trusted him so much. "Intuition," Sima Yue answered honestly. "All right. Let's say your intuition is correct," Feng Zhixing said. Sima Yue smiled and said, "So teacher has already helped me cover up my lie." Feng Zhixing did not answer and said, "Since everyone thinks that you are my disciple, then I should teach you some things." "Teacher wants to teach me things?" Feng Zhixing took out a box and said, "Come here." Sima Yue did not know what was going on, but she still walked over obediently. "Put your hand on the box and close your eyes. Tell me, what do you see?" Feng Zhixing placed the box on the table and said. Sima Yue replied with an "oh," and put her hand on the box and closed her eyes. This box seemed to have some kind of attraction. She felt dizzy and then she felt as if she was in another place. Tell me, what do you see? Feng Zhixing's magnetic voice sounded around her. There is nothing. There is only endless darkness. It is pitch black everywhere. Sima Yue said. Feel it carefully again. Is there still nothing? Feng Zhixing asked again. Sima Yue focused again. The originally dark surroundings were filled with some light, and bits of starlight appeared around her. She looked at the changes around her in shock and said in disbelief, I feel like I am in the universe. There are bits of starlight all around me. It is so beautiful. When Feng Zhixing heard Sima Yue's words, his body suddenly shook. Chapter 122. How big is the space you see? Feng Zhixing asked. Sima Yue looked around and said, How old? I can't see the end. It's empty everywhere. Feng Zhixing's shock turned into horror. He looked at Sima Yue and was speechless for a long time. After waiting for a while, seeing that Feng Zhixing did not respond, Sima Yue opened her eyes and called out in confusion, Teacher? Feng Zhixing took a deep breath and said, All right, you can put it away now. Sima Yue retracted her hand and asked, What is this? Feng Zhixing put the box away and said, This is to test a person's ability to sense space. Perception of space? Why did he give her this test? Yes. Feng Zhixing said, Didn't I say I was going to teach you a skill? I'm not an alchemist, so I can't teach you how to refine pills, but I can teach you how to set up arrays. Array formation? Teacher is an array master? Sima Yue was shocked. She had never heard of him being an array master. Although she had taken several teleportation arrays, she had never seen an array master. It was said that the number of array masters in Dongqin country was even rarer than alchemists and weapon refiners. When she heard that Feng Zhixing was an array master, she could not hide the surprise and passion in her eyes. Feng Zhixing nodded and said, If you want to become an array master, other than having a strong spiritual power, you also need to be able to sense space. Since you have already become an alchemist, it means that there is no problem with your mental strength. Through the test just now, your perception of space is also very good. As long as your perception is enough, you can definitely become an array master. Is it difficult to become a formation master? Sima Yue asked. Think about the difference between an array master, an alchemist, a weapon refiner, and a beast tamer. You can imagine how difficult it is to become an array master. Feng Xingji said, Alchemists all need to rely on strong mental energy, but for array masters this is only the foundation. This was because space was an illusory thing. The most important thing about space was not spiritual power, but perception and perception. If you can't achieve these 2 points, no matter how strong your mental strength is, you will never be able to become an array master. So that's how it is. I was wondering why the Dongqin kingdom did not have many array masters. I didn't know it was so troublesome to become an array master. Sima Yue nodded in understanding. That's right. That's why the status of a formation master is above that of the other major professions. If you become an array master, other professions will have to be respectful when they see you. Feng Zhixing said. Array masters are so awesome. That's natural, Feng Zhixing said. There are many types of formations and they have many uses. They can be big or small. Back where we came from, many cities rely on arrays to resist invasions. Teleportation arrays between cities can be seen in the bigger picture. An alchemist's strength is not very strong, but a defensive array can allow him to wait for reinforcements. Or, a maze array can make people lose their way when they enter the array. There are also offensive arrays. As long as someone enters, they will be injured by the power of the array. Sima Yue listened to Feng Zhixing talk nonstop. She smacked her lips twice and said, There are actually so many types of arrays. There are many types of arrays. You will slowly understand them in the future. Feng Zhixing said, Also, there are some high-level array masters who can comprehend the unique skills of an array master. What unique skills? Sima Yue asked curiously. Feng Zhixing looked around the room and saw the lampstand. He said, Bring the candle over and light it. Sima Yue went over and took the candle from the lampstand. She lit it and placed it on the table. Feng Zhixing looked at the candle for a while, then said, Try blowing the candle out. Sima Yue leaned over and blew on the candle. Based on common sense, blowing at such a close distance would definitely extinguish the flame. However, the flame on the candle did not even flicker. It was as if she did not blow on it at all. Sima Yue blew on it again. The flame on the candle still did not move. What's going on? Sima Yue looked at Feng Zhixing and asked. He did not do anything. How could it not be extinguished? Stretch out your hand and touch it. Feng Zhixing said. Sima Yue stretched out her finger and wanted to poke the candle. However, she realized that she was blocked by something and could not touch the candle at all. Teacher, what's going on? Sima Yue asked in surprise. Because I have sealed the space around the candle. Therefore you can't touch it at all. Feng Zhixing said as he stretched out his hand to touch the candle. Sima Yue did not retract her hand. She could clearly feel the layer of obstruction. However, Feng Zhixing directly touched the candle. You can do that? That's amazing. Sima Yue poked the invisible barrier with interest. But what's the use of this? By sealing the space, others cannot enter this space. When you are fighting with others, the other party's reinforcements must first break through your seal before they can enter. Furthermore, in your space, the other party's strength will be greatly weakened. They can even fight with people of a higher level. Feng Zhixing explained to her one by one. Furthermore, if the other party attacks you and you seal the space around you, they will not be able to hurt you. Isn't it very powerful to be able to block other people's attacks outside? If I were to fight with others and seal the space around me when they attack, wouldn't I be invincible? Sima Yue said. How is that possible? This is also related to the array master's strength. Feng Zhixing said, the higher an array master's understanding of space, the stronger their ability to seal the space. This is just like cultivation. The stronger the ability, the stronger the space that is sealed, and the stronger the impact that can be resisted. Furthermore, the size of the space that is sealed will vary according to the strength of the array master. Some array masters can seal the size of a house, while others can only seal the size of a fist. If you can understand space sealing, then you are very powerful. Sima Yue said. Array masters have other unique skills. The one that is more powerful than space sealing is space movement, and the one that is even more powerful is space shattering. No matter what skill it is all built on the understanding of space. Feng Zhixing said, I'm telling you all this just to explain the position of array masters in this world, and the direction that you have to work hard in the future. I understand. Sima Yue nodded. She admired array masters even more in her heart. I have 2 introductory books on array masters here. One is about the basic knowledge of array masters, and the other is about various array masters. I have some annotations in it, so it won't be too difficult to read. Feng Zhixing took out 2 books and handed them to Sima Yue. Like I said before, if you want to become an array master, you have to understand the mystery of space yourself. This book on array masters is also useful on this basis. Chapter 123. Sima Yue took the books. She felt that these 2 books would show her another exciting world. These books on formations are very rare in this world, so you must take good care of them, Feng Zhixing reminded him again. I will, teacher. Sima Yue nodded solemnly and kept the book into her soul pearl. In the future you can come here 2 nights a week. I'll explain the knowledge of formations to you. Now go back and look at these 2 books. If there's anything you don't understand, come and ask me. Feng Zhixing said. All right. Since I've accepted you as my disciple, then you must study hard in the future. Don't make me lose face, do you understand? Feng Zhixing said with a serious face. Yes, master. She changed the word teacher to master, indicating that the relationship between the 2 of them was not just an ordinary teacher-student relationship, but had now taken a step closer to that of master and disciple. By the way, master, what level has your space seal reached? Feng Zhixing saw the curiosity in Sima Yue's eyes. He smiled and said, Master can only seal off half of the room. She didn't know what level he was at in sealing half a room, but when she thought about how he said that many array masters could only seal a fist-sized space, she thought that this master of hers must be quite powerful. Seeing Sima Yue deep in thought, Feng Zhixing was stunned for a moment. It was as if he saw the shadow of that person from years ago. When Sima Yue came back to her senses, she saw Feng Zhixing staring at her. He seemed to be looking at her, but he also seemed to be looking at other places through her. His eyes were blurred, filled with memories and a trace of heartache. Master. She couldn't help but interrupt his thoughts. Ahem, if you don't have anything else you can leave. Feng Zhixing pretended to cough twice to cover up his loss of composure and waved his hand at Sima Yue. Then I'll take my leave. Sima Yue left after saying that. After taking a few steps, she stopped and turned around to look at Feng Zhixing. At this moment he was immersed in his memories again. After leaving the office, Sima Yue walked around the campus alone. She was filled with doubts. At that time, Sima Lai had unintentionally mentioned that she had a life tablet. He even said that Feng Zhixing was present when the life tablet was made for her. The average person would not be able to make something like a life jade. Even Sima Lai did not make one for Sima Yuming and the others, so it was strange that she was the only one who had a life jade. Feng Zhixing was present at that time, and he wasn't from Dongqin country. Didn't that mean that when he made her life tablet she wasn't even in Dongqin country? Was she not a member of the Sima family at all? Sima Yue was shocked by her own thoughts and subconsciously stopped in her tracks. She felt that her conjecture was somewhat unimaginable, but there were indeed some strange things about her interactions with Sima Lai and the others. For example, her mother or father were not from the human race, but from the dark race. Only then could she possess the light devil body. But from what she knew, Sima Yuming and the others' mother was indeed from the human race. Also, when Sima Lai gave her her father's box, he said that it was something that her father had left behind. At that time, it was not like it was passed down from generation to generation. It was more like she was keeping the box for her father. Actually, based on her special physique, she could guess that she was not from the Sima family. She had never thought about this before. Now that everything was connected, she started to suspect her own identity. But even if she guessed it, she did not plan to ask Sima Lai and the others. It was not that she was not curious about her own identity, it was just that she missed the warmth of the Sima family. As for the truth, she believed that there would be a day when she would know. When the time came, Sima Lai and the others would naturally tell her. After sorting out her thoughts, Sima Yue heaved a sigh of relief and returned to the dormitory. Because the next semester was about to start, Wei Ziqi and the others were in their own rooms preparing for tomorrow's classes. She returned to her own room and took out the book that Feng Zhixing gave her and placed it on the table. Array Master. She stretched out a hand and touched the cover of the book. Until now, she still felt that it was unbelievable. Although she had thought of learning arrays before, she knew in her heart that the chances were very small. She did not think that Feng Zhixing was actually an array master, so this opportunity was placed in front of her. How do I comprehend space? She looked around and did not feel that there was anything special about it. How do I comprehend this? Master can actually seal a space that is half the size of a house. That's amazing. I wonder what his true strength is. Spatial shift, spatial seal. Even Master doesn't know these two. It must be even harder. If he learns it, he will definitely be awesome. Forget it, let's not think about that now. First, I'll properly read the book and comprehend what exactly is this space that Master talked about. Sima Yu spent the entire afternoon reading and comprehending. However, even when night fell, she still didn't comprehend anything. However, she was not disappointed. If it was so easy to comprehend, then array masters would not be rarer than alchemists. The next day classes began. Everyone's lives seemed to have returned to the peaceful way it was before. Every day they would attend classes, study and cultivate. Because Wei Ziqi and the others had Sima Yue, this abnormal person, constantly provoking them, they worked even harder than the others. This was so that they could keep up with her pace and not be left far behind. Half a month passed in the blink of an eye. Sima Yue felt that she was even busier every day. However, she later discovered that she could comprehend space at night when she was recovering her soul. This saved her a lot of time. At night, Sima Yue and Mo Sha sat opposite each other with the golden snake fruit tree in between. The moonlight shone on the tree, emitting a milky white gas. This was something that the two of them often did at night. Because of the contract, the two of them had formed a kind of trust. They believed that the other party would not harm them, so they could enter into their cultivation mode without worry. Mo Sha did not cultivate that night. Tomorrow was the time to refine pills for Sima Yue. His soul had already recovered a lot, so he gave himself a temporary break. He sat on the praying mat and looked at Sima Yue, who was in the midst of comprehending space. He sighed in his heart that her luck was really good. Other people might not even be able to obtain the same treasure in their lifetime, but for her, it was like cabbages that could be found on the market. Imperial Beast Art and Training Soul Art were both things that he had obtained after going through countless trials and tribulations when he was alive. However, because of the relationship between the two of them, she had easily obtained them. Books on array masters were also very rare in the entire world, but she had met an array master. Not to mention that she also had the Spirit Pearl, a world that could contain life. She also had the supreme artifact, Ling Long, that he had only heard of in his lifetime. Thinking of the treasures that she had, if she casually threw any one of them out, it would not cause a bloody storm on the continent. If there was no contract, even he would be moved by them. Sima Yue felt his gaze but did not open her eyes. This was because at this moment she had suddenly entered another realm. Chapter 124. At this moment she seemed to have returned to the place where stars were everywhere. Countless stars seemed to be blinking at her, sometimes close and sometimes far away. At this moment, specks of light flashed around her. The spots of light danced around her for a moment before slowly drifting away and merging with the stars in the distance. At this moment, she felt as if she had been magnified many times over. Space and distance, she felt as if they were all under her control. The first sentence of the foundational spell formation book suddenly appeared in her mind. Space can be near or far. It can be formless and can be touched. Every space has a relative connection with another space. Find it, understand it, master it, control it. She felt that she seemed to have reached the step of finding it. Feng Zhixing had said that if one could reach this point, they would be considered to have reached the entry level of a formation master. As soon as her mind relaxed, the space she was in quickly retreated, and the feeling she had just now disappeared. When she opened her eyes, she was still in her bedroom. She did not go to that so-called space. Did you comprehend it? Emosha asked. Seeing her state just now, he knew that she must have gained something. Sima Yue nodded. She saw that this guy was sitting there lazily with one leg bent, his arm resting on it and his palm supporting his head. He was not cultivating. She asked, "Why aren't you cultivating?" "It's almost done." Emosha waved his sleeves. "Really? Let's go and refine the pills now." Sima Yue stood up and said, "Are you sure you don't need to think about what you just comprehended?" Emosha said. Sima Yue was stunned. How did this guy know? "I've already waited for so many days, there's no need to rush. However, this is something that can only be found by chance." Emosha, as someone who had experienced this before, knew how small the chances were. Sima Yue thought about it and agreed. There was no need to rush to concoct pills now. She nodded and sat down again saying, "All right then, I won't refine pills tonight. We'll talk about it tomorrow." Emosha saw her close her eyes again and didn't say anything, continuing to stare at her. Her youthful face was already showing the shadow of a devastatingly beautiful woman. However, because the illusion ring on her hand showed the appearance of a man, that kind of stunning beauty was weakened. Thinking about how she had learned the Imperial Beast art without anyone teaching her, how she had become a second-grade alchemist in less than a year of alchemy, and how she had been able to comprehend space in such a short period of time, he couldn't help but sigh with emotion at her talent. This little fellow's talent is really not inferior to mine back then? Sima Yue repeatedly thought about the space she had just seen. She recalled the feeling she had at that time and slowly she seemed to have found the nature of the space. The next morning, Sima Yue asked Fatty Chu to help her apply for leave. She then locked herself in her room and started refining pills. Inside the Soul Pearl, Sima Yue and Emosha arrived at the pill refining room. The room was already filled with the ingredients needed to refine the 100 Revolutions pill, as well as 2 bottles of Spirit Energy Recovery pills. "Let's begin," Sima Yue said to Emosha. Emosha nodded and walked to the side of the pill refining furnace. With a thought, a wisp of black flame entered the bottom of the pill refining furnace and grew wildly. Very quickly, it covered the entire bottom of the pill refining furnace. Sima Yue didn't let go of this opportunity to learn as she attentively observed his every move. She realized that every time she watched Emosha refine pills, she would gain something different. It was a great help to her alchemy. With the experience of working together, the two of them already had great chemistry. When it was time to condense the pills, Emosha didn't even need to say anything. With one look from him, she knew that it was time for her to go up. She moved closer to the pill refining furnace and inserted her spirit energy. After eating 2 more pills, Sima Yue finally finished the first round of inserting spirit energy. She stood to the side a little exhausted and watched Emosha finish the last part. After a while, Emosha finished refining the pills and put away the fire. "Done?" Sima Yue asked. "Yes, let's rest for a day and refine the second batch tomorrow." Emosha nodded and said. Sima Yue saw that he was in good spirits and knew that he had postponed it to tomorrow because she couldn't supply enough spirit energy. She nodded and replied, "Okay." Emosha's body moved and disappeared. She came to the side of the pill refining furnace and opened the lid. She took out a jade bottle and was about to keep the pills. Seeing the pills inside, she was slightly stunned. 10 pills. When she was inserting her spirit energy, she couldn't connect them. She thought that it would affect the success rate. She didn't think that he would be able to salvage the situation and still produce 10 pills. So amazing. I wonder what level he was when he was alive. She kept the pills and let Little Spirit pack her things. She went to the cultivation room to recover her spirit energy. In the afternoon, she heard a knock on the door and came out of the room. "Fatty? What's the matter?" "That teacher Feng wants you to find him. Seems to be urgent." Fatty Chu said. I got it. Sima Yue came out and closed the door. She didn't go to class today. Could it be that he was looking for her because of this? However, she often skipped class before and he didn't say anything, so it shouldn't be about this. She came to Feng Zhixing's office and lightly knocked on the door. Then she pushed the door open and entered. Master, you're looking for me? Feng Zhixing looked at Sima Yue and said, I wanted to say goodbye to you after class, but you didn't come to class today. I had no choice but to call you over. Teacher, you're leaving? Sima Yue looked at Feng Zhixing in shock. This news came too suddenly and she wasn't mentally prepared at all. Yeah, something happened in the clan. They told me to go back immediately. Feng Zhixing nodded. Because the news came too quickly, I have to go back immediately. What's so urgent? Sima Yue asked. There are some things with the Sage Pavilion that I need to go back to settle. Feng Zhixing said. Sage Pavilion? Was it with Wu Lingyu and the others? Seeing Feng Zhixing's expression, it didn't seem to be anything good. However, the battle between them wasn't something that she could interfere with at this stage. If they really fought, she would only end up being blasted to pieces. Then when will teacher leave? Sima Yue asked reluctantly. After being together for such a long time, he had always treated her with all his heart and guided her. Now that he suddenly said that he was leaving, she realized that other than the Sima family, she also treated him as someone close to her. I'll say goodbye to you and say goodbye to the principal before leaving. Feng Zhixing said. So fast. Yeah, the things there are more urgent. Feng Zhixing said. Then teacher, are you still coming back? I think that by the time I'm done, you should have already left Dongqin country. Feng Zhixing smiled. If I don't come back, you can come to the primordial lands to find me. I believe that with your talent you will be there very quickly. The primordial lands? That was where he lived. Would it be where her parents lived as well? Chapter 125. You should know that I am not from the Yilin continent. I live in a continent that is one level higher than this. Once you reach the divine rank you can go there. Feng Zhixing saw that Sima Yue was in a daze and thought that she was just curious about where it was. Only divine ranks can go there? Yes, above Spirit Paragon is divine rank. Those who have just entered divine rank are at the bottom of the hierarchy. So if you are not divine rank you must not go there. Feng Zhixing said. Master, you know my parents, right? Are they there too? Sima Yue suddenly asked. Feng Zhixing was stunned and asked, What did you say? Did Sima Lai already tell her about her background? You don't have to hide it from me. I already guessed it. Sima Yue said, I am not a child of the Sima family. My parents are also not from the Dongqin kingdom. Do Grandpa and the others know? Feng Zhixing asked. Sima Yue shook her head and said, I only guessed it myself. I did not ask them. Master, you know about my background, right? Feng Zhixing looked at Sima Yue for a while and sighed, saying, Since you guessed it, I will tell you. You are indeed not a child of the Sima family. I also know your father. Sima Yue was not surprised because this was also something that she had guessed. Master, then do you know? Sima Yue stopped halfway and did not finish her sentence. You want to ask why did they put you here? Feng Zhixing asked. Sima Yue nodded. Actually, this was also for the original body. Actually, they did not want to do this. It was just that the situation at that time was too complicated. Feng Zhixing sighed and continued, It is not convenient for me to tell you these things now. You only need to know that they did not want to put you here. They also had their own difficulties. Yes, I know. As long as they do not want me, I will not hate them. Sima Yue said. Hearing her words, Feng Zhixing felt very gratified. Master, are you good friends with my parents? Sima Yue asked. Feng Zhixing smiled faintly and said, Yes, I am good friends with your parents. Your father and I have known each other since we were young and we grew up together. We were young and frivolous and we always wanted to see who had better talent. Our relationship wasn't good, but later on, we realized that both of us had grown up while we were chasing each other. Our unhappy past became memories of each other. Sima Yue could almost see the scene of the two youths chasing after each other as they grew up. Then what about my mother? Your mother? Feng Zhixing's eyes flashed with a trace of bitterness. She is very beautiful. Yes, she is not very kind, but she is very passionate about the people she recognizes. You are quite similar to your mother in this aspect. My father and mother, where are they now? Sima Yue asked. They are now in a place where ordinary people cannot go. Feng Zhixing said, It is not that they do not want to come and see you, but they cannot come. They cannot come? What? If you can come, why can't they? Sima Yue asked. Their situation is not very good right now. Originally you could not cultivate, so I should not tell you these things. But now, not only can you cultivate, you have even become an alchemist. In the future you may even become an array master. That is why I can tell you these things. I hope that you can grow quickly. When you go there you will know more things. Feng Zhixing said. Actually, he originally came here to detoxify Sima Yue. He did not expect that when he came she was already able to cultivate. Sima Yue looked at Feng Zhixing. He said it very vaguely, but she felt that something big seemed to have happened to her parents. When they sent her here they did not even come to see her until now. I will work hard to cultivate. Yue, remember, with absolute strength, you will have the absolute right to speak. Only then can you do what you want to do. Do you understand? Feng Zhixing said meaningfully. I understand, master. Sima Yue answered seriously. She understood this principle very early on. Feng Zhixing looked at Sima Yue with gratification. Her talent was better than those geniuses above, but she was quite reasonable. She did not have the arrogance and wildness of those people. With a thought, a box appeared in front of him. He said, "These are some one-time teleportation arrays. Open them and they will be sent to a random place. If you are trapped in the future you can use them to escape." Thank you, master. Sima Yue did not stand on ceremony and accepted the box. Also, I plan to leave a mark on your body. As for its use you will know in the future. Come here. Sima Yue walked over. Feng Zhixing asked her to sit on the seat and then stood behind her. Sima Yue did not know how Feng Zhixing did it, but suddenly she felt a faint little person appear in her mind. That person looked exactly like Feng Zhixing. Done. Feng Zhixing's voice came from behind. It carried a trace of fatigue. Sima Yue stood up and looked back. Seeing that Feng Zhixing's face was a bit pale, she asked, "Master, are you okay?" Feng Zhixing waved his hand and said, "I'm fine. It's just that a strand of consciousness is a bit tired. I will be fine after some rest." Thank you, master. Sima Yue knew that this strand of consciousness was definitely harmful to the body, but he did not hesitate to sit down. She would always remember this favor in her heart. Also, if you go to the primordial lands and encounter any difficulties in the lower or middle levels, you can use this jade pendant to seek help from the Fengyu auction house. They will help you unconditionally. With that, Feng Zhixing took out a jade pendant and handed it to Sima Yue. Sima Yue looked at Feng Zhixing and said solemnly, "Master, don't worry. I will cultivate well and go to the primordial lands to look for you guys." "Okay, I believe in you." Feng Zhixing patted Sima Yue's shoulder. "Go back. I will leave after talking to the principal." Sima Yue nodded and turned to leave the room. Feng Zhixing rested inside for half a day. The light in the room gradually dimmed. He felt a bit better and got up to leave. As soon as he opened the door, he saw Sima Yue waiting for him outside. "Yue?" He looked at Sima Yue in surprise. "I want to send master off. I want to see master leave," Sima Yue said. She knew that Feng Zhixing needed time to recover, so she kept waiting at the door. Feng Zhixing looked at her emotionally. He originally wanted to leave quietly by himself, but now it seemed that it was impossible. "If that's the case, then let's go together," Feng Zhixing said and turned to leave. Sima Yue hurriedly followed him. The two of them came to a small courtyard in the school. This was where the principal lived. When he heard that Feng Zhixing was leaving, the old principal was not too surprised. He always knew that Feng Zhixing would leave sooner or later. After a simple farewell, Sima Yue and Feng Zhixing went to the mountain behind the school. "I'm leaving. I look forward to our next meeting. I think you will give me a surprise." Feng Zhixing patted Sima Yue's head. "Master, take care." Sima Yue looked at Feng Zhixing and said. Feng Zhixing nodded and let go of her head. He formed a seal with his hands and a passage appeared behind him. He smiled at Sima Yue and turned to enter the space passage. Chapter 126. Sima Yue watched as Feng Zhixing left and the tunnel slowly closed. She knew that if she followed him, she would be able to see the world on the other side of the tunnel and find out the truth about why she was sent here. But she didn't move because she knew clearly that with her current strength, going there would be suicide. She clenched her fists and swore to herself that she would go to the primordial lands and uncover the truth that Feng Zhixing didn't tell her. The night wind blew gently. She stood at the top of the mountain, letting the wind blow her hair into a mess. She stayed at the top of the mountain for a while. After she calmed down, she went down the mountain and returned to her dormitory. Fatty Chu just happened to come out from his room. When he saw her, he asked, Yue, what did Teacher Feng ask you to do? Why are you back so late? Sima Yue looked at Fatty Chu, shook her head and went back into the house. What's wrong with this guy? You look so disappointed. Fatty Chu looked at Sima Yue's door in confusion. The next day when the students of Class A went to class, it was originally Feng Zhixing's class, but another teacher walked in. Teacher Feng has left the academy due to some matters. From today on I will be your instructor. My name is Ling Ping. If you have any questions, come to me after class. You have 1 minute to laugh at this news and then we will start the class. After Ling Ping finished, he lowered his head and opened his book. The entire class was in an uproar. Other than Sima Yue, everyone else was caught off guard. Ouyang Fei and the other three looked at Sima Yue and saw her lying on the table listlessly. There was no surprise on her face and they knew that she must have known about it. Yesterday, did you go to bid farewell to Teacher Feng? Bei Gongtang asked. Yes, Master said that he had something to do at home and left. Sima Yue sat up and said. Bei Gongtang and the others all knew that Sima Yue called Feng Zhixing Master, so it was reasonable for him to ask her to bid farewell. Since you're leaving for some matters, we'll meet again in the future. Bei Gongtang said after a moment of silence. Sima Yue turned to look at Bei Gongtang in shock. This was the first time she had taken the initiative to comfort someone. Yes, I know. Sima Yue said, but it's too sudden. I need some time to digest it. Thank you, I'm fine. Sima Yue patted her face and forced a smile. After a minute, Ling Ping raised his head and said, let's start today's class. After class, Sima Yue and her friends walked towards the dormitory. Do you know why Teacher Di Feng wants to leave? No mistake. Fatty Chu asked as he walked beside her. Sima Yue recalled what Feng Zhixing had said before he left, that it was about the Sage Pavilion. However, she knew that this was a serious matter, so she shook her head and said, he didn't say anything specific. He only said that something happened to his clan and he was urgently summoned back. Then will he come back? Wei Ziqi asked. I don't think so. Sima Yue said, but Master said that we can look for him when we go to the primordial lands. Hearing about the primordial lands, Bei Gongtang's body stiffened. Although it wasn't obvious, it didn't escape Sima Yue's eyes. Primordial lands? Fatty Chu looked at Sima Yue. Aren't we in the Yilin continent? Could it be that Teacher Feng is not from here? No. Sima Yue said, we are in the Yilin continent. The primordial lands are 1 level higher. It is said that the environment in that continent is much better than here. The level is also much higher. Master told me that I can't go to the primordial lands before I reach the God level. God level? Fatty Chu and Wei Ziqi were quite surprised. Their eyes were wide open. Yes, above Spirit Paragon is the God level. Once you reach the God level, you can go to the primordial lands. Sima Yue said. But none of us here have reached Spirit Paragon, much less the God level. Fatty Chu said. No, it's not that there aren't any Spirit Paragons in the Yilin continent. It's just that they aren't here. Ouyang Fei said. Ouyang, how do you know? Wei Ziqi asked. Because I've seen it before. Ouyang Fei said. You've seen it before? How come I've never heard of Dongqin country having a Spirit Paragon? Fatty Chu scratched the back of his head. Ouyang Fei is talking about the Yilin continent, not the Dongqin country. Sima Yue said, the Dongqin country is just a barren land in the Yilin continent. It's a place used by other places to exile criminals. What? Fatty Chu and Wei Ziqi cried out in surprise, attracting the attention of the people around them. Sima Yue looked at Fatty Chu and Wei Ziqi's shocked expressions, then looked at the people around them and said, let's go back to the dorms and talk. When they returned to the dorms, everyone habitually gathered in Sima Yue's room. Fatty Chu did not wait for Sima Yue to speak and asked, Yue, what do you mean when you say that this place is a place of exile? Sima Yue looked at Ouyang Fei and said, I'm afraid that Ouyang Fei will be able to explain it more clearly than me, right, Ouyang Fei? Ouyang Fei? Fatty Chu and Wei Ziqi looked at Ouyang Fei. You know? Ouyang Fei looked at Sima Yue indifferently. An unnatural expression flashed across his face as he said, there are 5 countries in the Yilin continent. 4 big countries, West Moon country, Northern Yin country, South Yu country, Central Wu country, and 1 place of exile, the Dongqin country. As Yue said, this is a place where the 4 big countries exile criminals. Ouyang Fei, how do you know? Wei Ziqi asked. Because I came here from the outside. Ouyang Fei said, I'm from the South Yu country. Because of some reasons I had no choice but to come here. I always thought that this world was only as big as the Dongqin country. I didn't think that this was only the tip of the iceberg. We are just a small part of the Elin continent. Fatty Chu said. The clans here are usually exiled from the outside world, or they escaped here themselves. Sima Yue said, who knows, there might be a Chu family or a Wei family somewhere outside. Of course, there might also be a Sima family. The Dongqin country is barren and lacking in resources. The cultivation speed is extremely slow, and because of some reasons, the spiritual qi here is thinner than outside. Ouyang Fei said. If it's really like this, why hasn't anyone left? Wei Ziqi did not understand. Because there is a natural barrier here. It's like a cover that covers the Dongqin country. If one is not a spirit saint, there is no way to break through this barrier. But after so many years, how many spirit saints have appeared in the Dongqin country? Over time, this matter was slowly forgotten. Ouyang Fei said, it is also because of this barrier that the spiritual qi here is so thin. There aren't even many spirit fruits or spirit stones that can increase one's cultivation. Don't tell me that apart from cultivating to the spirit saint level, there are no other ways to leave? Fatty Chu said. I believe that there are ways. But even if there are, those who are not strong enough will not be able to leave. Ouyang Fei said. What? Chapter 127. Because the barrier is on top of the Sophia mountain range. There are many divine beasts there. Even if you have the strength of a spirit saint, you will still have to face hundreds of divine beasts. If you aren't careful, you will lose your life. Ouyang Fei said. Hundreds of divine beasts. Fatty Chu heard himself gasp. How dangerous was the Sophia mountain range? Puluo mountain range only had a single full ape divine beast, but Sophia mountain range actually had hundreds of divine beasts. It was no wonder that everyone was surprised. There's a natural barrier and a divine beast outside. No wonder no one has been able to go out. Everyone finally understood. Yu, how do you know that Ouyang knows all this? Bei Gongtang asked. I guessed it, Sima Yue said. You're the smartest, always able to guess it. Fatty Chu said. Ouyang, when did you come to Dongqin? Wei Ziqi asked. Ouyang Fei was silent for a moment, then said, 2 months before the academy's enrollment. Seeing him like this, everyone knew that he had something he couldn't say, so they didn't ask him anymore. It's fine if we didn't know in the past, but now that we know, we must definitely go to the outside world to take a look. Wei Ziqi clenched his fists, his face filled with yearning for the unknown world. Before that, everyone should cultivate properly and increase your own strength. Bei Gongtang said, if there's nothing else, I'm going back to the house. We're going back too. Fatty Chu said, I won't be lazy anymore. As long as I have time, I'll cultivate. I don't believe that we'll be trapped here forever. Wei Ziqi also stood up and said, I'm also going back. The three of them left, leaving Ouyang Fei and Sima Yue behind. How do you know that I am not from the Dongqin kingdom? Ouyang Fei looked at Sima Yue and asked. I told you it's just a guess. Sima Yue shrugged. Also, it's my intuition. Ouyang, no matter what you've experienced, at least we're together now. If you want to talk about those things, just tell everyone. If you don't want to talk about it, no one will alienate you or blame you. I know. But some things are better left unknown. Ouyang Fei stood up. I'm going back. Sima Yue watched Ouyang Fei leave and sighed in her heart. It seemed like he and Bei Gongtang were both people who had things on their minds. In addition to his own background, it seemed that in their team, only Wei Ziqi and Fatty Chu had a relatively simple environment. Huff, after letting out a long breath, Sima Yue closed the door and flashed into the spirit pearl. Mo of Mo. Why? Sima Yue was stunned as she asked. Also, I finished refining the spirit stone. As Mo Sha spoke, a dark red datura flower bracelet appeared between the two of them. This is. Sima Yue stretched out her hand to touch the necklace. The necklace seemed to have a mind of its own as it put itself on her wrist. It made her fair wrist look exceptionally enchanting. This is a bracelet that I made using the spirit stone and the materials in the spirit pearl. It can be used to house the spirit. Mo Sha said. Aren't you fine in the spirit pearl? Sima Yue asked. Although I can see what's happening outside the spirit pearl, I can't sense the other half of my spirit. Mo Sha said. If you wear this on your wrist, I can sense it within a certain range. If you meet the other half of my spirit one day, or if you're not far from him, I'll be able to sense it. I see. Sima Yue raised her hand and looked at the bracelet on her wrist. She asked, since this can house your spirit, what about other people's? Mo Sha glanced at her and said, do you think I'll let other people share this place with me? The meaning in his words was very clear. It was possible, but he wouldn't be willing. If she really put someone's spirit in, they would probably be destroyed before they could even see what was inside. With this, I can also absorb the aura from the golden snake fruit tree. Mo Sha turned into a black smoke after he finished speaking and entered the bracelet. Sima Yue touched the bracelet and admired it while saying, I don't know how this guy refined it, but it looks pretty good. It's definitely not a normal spirit weapon. Who knows, it might even be a holy weapon or divine weapon. It's so pretty, let's call it the Devil's Snare bracelet. Since Mo Sha said that he wouldn't refine pills, she went to the cultivation room to cultivate and slowly calmed her emotions. After 2 days, Mo Sha said that they could start refining pills. Sima Yue took the bracelet and entered the spirit pearl. After 2 days of digestion, Sima Yue's condition had already returned to its initial state and fulfilled Mo Sha's request. When they arrived at the pill refining room, Little Spirit had already prepared everything they needed as usual. The two of them checked the room and immediately started to refine the pills. With the experience from last time, refining pills this time was even smoother. Sima Yue also understood the amount of spiritual energy needed to refine the 100 Revolutions pill, so although the spiritual energy in her body was emptied this time, it wasn't as tiring as last time. All right. Mo Sha retracted the flame and looked at the exhausted Sima Yue saying, although the spiritual energy in your body is emptied every time, it's actually good for you. The spiritual energy you absorb will be more condensed and your strength will be more real. It won't be so superficial. I understand. Sima Yue sat on the ground and said with a pale face. Mo Sha entered the Devil's Snare bracelet in a flash. Sima Yue took out a pill and ate it. Her body recovered a bit of strength before she crawled up from the ground and went to the pill furnace to collect the pills. She put the pills into the jade bottle one by one. In the end, she was stunned. She poured out all the pills that she had just put into the bottle and counted them again to make sure that she didn't count wrongly. Mo Sha, didn't you say that you can only refine 10 pills at most? How come there are 11 pills this time? Mo Sha's indifferent voice came from the Devil's Snare bracelet, saying, when I had a physical body, I could refine at least 12 pills at once. 10 pills is a conservative estimate for my spirit state. Sima Yue took out the pills and looked at them happily, including the ones from last time. I have 21 pills. Currently I only need 18 pills, so there are still 3 pills left. Once I recover my spiritual energy, I'll go out and give them to grandfather and the others so that they can consume them earlier. She put all the 100 Revolutions pills into her spatial ring and sat down cross-legged on the ground to absorb the spiritual energy in the air. At the same time, a group of people passed through the Sophia mountain range and arrived at Dongqin country, heading straight for the capital. If Sima Lai was here, he would definitely recognize that one of them was the one who had injured him. Chapter 128. Third brother, are you sure that they are the trash that were chased out of the Sima family? Sima Ko asked. Sima Kai rubbed his arm as a trace of haze flashed past his eyes. Not long ago, Sima Lai had left a very deep wound there. Although we haven't seen each other for over 100 years, I won't be mistaken. Sima Kai said, the skill that injured me was my family's raging inferno cut. Sima Lin, who was accompanying them, furrowed his eyebrows and said, third brother is already a second-rank spirit emperor, yet he was still injured by Sima Lai. Could it be that his strength is higher than yours? If at that time they had not secretly learned the Raging Inferno slash, then how could Sima Lai possibly injure me? Sima Kai said. That's right, the exiled clansmen are not allowed to learn the Raging Inferno slash. That Sima Lai actually dared to learn it. Once we capture him and bring him back, we must cripple him. Sima Kai gritted his teeth. He hadn't even learned the essence of Raging Inferno slash, but Sima Lai had already learned it. To be able to use it to injure Sima Kai, he must have already grasped the essence of it. Thinking of this, he gritted his teeth. It doesn't matter what you use. Injuries are injuries. Sima Kai said, but there's no need to capture him. He was injured by my spirit pet, and definitely won't live for more than 2 days. Just capture those little bastards and bring them back. Another middle-aged woman snorted coldly and said, what happened back then? We still haven't figured it out, have we? Why did fourth uncle's bloodline flee? Did they flee out of fear of punishment or were they forced to flee? Without seeing them, no one can say for sure. Seventh sister, what do you mean by that? When Sima Ku heard Sima Qing speaking up for Sima Lin, his face darkened as he berated her. Literally. Sima Qing refused to back down and glared at Sima Ku. Alright, stop arguing. Don't forget our main mission this time. Sima Lin said, third brother, are you sure there's a golden snake fruit here? Big brother, at that time I was also on the spur of the moment, so I thought of taking a stroll in this land of exile. I didn't expect that I would coincidentally encounter the golden snake fruit ripening. Unfortunately, I was a step too late. When I arrived, the golden snake fruit was already gone. However, I am certain that it is the golden snake fruit. Sima Kai said with certainty. Great uncle, with the golden snake fruit, will great grandfather and the others be able to get better? Sima Yulan asked. As a group of people, she was the only junior. Because of her uniqueness, Sima Lin and the others had brought her along to cross the Sophia mountain range, a dangerous place. Not necessarily. Sima Lin said, it's just that the pill master said that if we have the golden snake fruit, your great-grandfather and the others might be able to wake up. Father and the others have already been foolish for so many years. If the golden snake fruit can really cure them, then it wouldn't have been in vain for us to risk our lives in the Sophia mountain range. Sima Qing sighed and said, we are pressed for time this time. Not only do we have to find the golden snake fruit, we also have to bring forth uncle's bloodline back. Sima Lin said. I wonder whose hands this golden snake fruit has fallen into. Sima Ku said, although the land of exile isn't big, it isn't small either. Who knows how long it would take to find this? I don't think so. Sima Kai said, the movement of this golden snake fruit ripening is so big, it will definitely attract a lot of people. In the end, it won't be a secret who it will fall into. When the time comes, we will go to the city and ask around. We should be able to find out. How much longer do we have before we can enter the city? Sima Qing asked. Half a day. In the evening, the group of people finally arrived at a city. Because it was already late, everyone found an inn to rest. On the morning of the second day, Sima Ku found the innkeeper and calculated the cost of the room. After that, he took out a few gold coins and placed it in front of the innkeeper, saying, Innkeeper, do you know a person called Sima Lai? Who doesn't know Sima Lai from the Dongqing kingdom? The innkeeper smiled as he kept the gold coins and said, he is our Dongqing kingdom's general. Don't tell me that you have been cultivating in the mountains all this time and didn't care about the outside world? General. Then where does he live? The innkeeper believed that these people were definitely cultivating in seclusion. He didn't know why they were looking for Sima Lai, but for the sake of those few gold coins he still said, the Sima family is in the imperial capital. It's quite far from here. Dear guests, what are you looking for them for? Sima Ku glared at the innkeeper. The innkeeper immediately laughed and said that he wouldn't ask any more. Then do you know who has the golden snake fruit? Golden snake fruit? We don't know about this. The innkeeper said. Hearing his words, Sima Lin and the others' faces darkened. The innkeeper saw that they were unhappy and immediately explained, Dear guests, I really don't know. Not to mention me, even if it's the others, they also don't know. What? At that time, there should have been many people fighting for the golden snake fruit. How could no one know who got the golden snake fruit? Sima Kai asked. Dear guests don't know, but I heard people say that when they were fighting for the golden snake fruit, there were many people and spirit beasts. However, in the end it was snatched away by someone they didn't know. The innkeeper said. Someone they didn't know? That's right. The innkeeper said, at that time there was a huge battle at the Puluo mountain range. I heard that all the powerful people have gone, even General Sima has gone. He can be considered as the strongest person in our Dongqing kingdom. However, he still didn't get the golden snake fruit. Didn't you say that he was the strongest? Why didn't he get it? Could it have been taken by a spirit beast? Sima Qing asked. No, just as General Sima and that spirit beast were fighting fiercely, someone came from who knows where and plucked the golden snake fruit from the roots. The innkeeper said, that person was completely wrapped in a cloak. It said that his strength was much higher than the general's. It said that he was already a spirit paragon. I wonder which mountain this old monster came from. Sima Lin and Sima Qing exchanged glances, their eyes filled with suspicion. Did the Dongqing kingdom have an expert like a spirit paragon? Could it be that he came from our side? The golden snake fruit is no longer in the Dongqing kingdom? Sima Ku said. Sima Lin and the others turned to look at Sima Yulan. She shook her head and said confidently, no, I can feel that the golden snake fruit is still here. It's in the Dongqing kingdom. Since we don't know who has it, it'll be troublesome to find it. Sima Qing said worriedly, can we find it within 5 days? Sima Lin and the others fell silent. They originally thought that it would be a simple matter, but because the other party's identity was unknown, it became troublesome. Yulan, you've always been sensitive to treasures. Can you feel where it is? Sima Lin asked. Sima Yulan closed her eyes and tried saying, I can't. I can only feel the general direction. It's over there. Sima Yulan pointed to a place and the innkeeper said, that's the direction of the imperial capital. Sima Lin glanced at the innkeeper saying, then let's go to the imperial capital to look for the remaining members of the Sima family. Sima Lai, who had just walked out of his house, seemed to feel something and raised his head to look in the direction of the Sophia mountain range. Chapter 129. After being busy outside for an entire day, Sima Lai returned home in the evening. The feeling of unease in his heart grew even stronger. Butler, where are the young masters now? The butler came in from outside and said, General, the first and second young masters have gone to inspect the businesses in Linqing. The third young master is at home, while the fourth and fifth young masters are at the academy. Go and call them all back. Sima Lai said. The housekeeper looked at Sima Lai in astonishment. Didn't nothing happen today? Why did he suddenly call them back? Now General? You go now and tell the eldest young master and second young master to rush back overnight. Sima Lai said. The housekeeper saw Sima Lai's serious expression and knew that something big must have happened. He said, this old servant will go now. After the housekeeper left, Sima Lai remained in the house. His heart was restless as he paced back and forth. Soon, the butler returned and said, General, I've already sent people to look for first young master and second young master. They should be back by tomorrow morning. The fourth young master has already returned, but the fifth young master is in seclusion and has not seen her. You haven't seen Yue? Sima Lai asked. Yes. When we went there, young Master Chu said that before fifth young master went into seclusion, he said that if she didn't come out, don't call her. It's probably a critical moment, the butler replied. However, they said that she has already been in there for 2 days. She should be coming out soon. Okay, I'll go and take a look tomorrow morning. If fifth young master comes out, then let her come back immediately. Sima Lai said. Yes, General. The butler accepted the order and left. On the morning of the second day, apart from Sima Yu, Sima Yu Ming, Sima Yu Qi, Sima Yu Ran and Sima Yu Lu all arrived. Grandfather, why did you suddenly call us back? Sima Yu Ming asked. That's right. What's so urgent? We still have a few shops that we haven't checked yet. Sima Yu Qi said. We have classes today too. Sima Yu Lu said. Leave the imperial capital immediately and don't come back for a year. Sima Lai said. What? Why? Grandfather? Go out? The four of them were shocked by Sima Lai's words. Even the housekeeper at the side looked at Sima Lai in surprise. In a moment, pack up your things and leave. You are not allowed to return for a year. Sima Lai said. Grandpa, what happened? Why do you want us to leave? Sima Yuran asked. You just have to listen to me. Sima Lai said calmly. Grandfather, if you don't tell us the reason, we won't leave. Sima Yuming said. That's right, Grandfather. If you don't tell us, we won't leave. Sima Yulu said. You guys don't make me angry. Sima Lai scolded. Grandfather, if you don't tell us the reason, we won't feel at ease even if we leave. Sima Yuran said. Sigh. Sima Lai sighed and said, with your tempers, I'll tell you the reason. Sima Lai told her about his family situation and his own premonition. Grandfather, you're saying that people from the clan might come here? Sima Yuming furrowed his eyebrows. They never thought that they would have this kind of history. I had a very strong feeling yesterday that they might be coming. Sima Lai said, you are the roots of the Sima family, so you have to leave. If something really happens, it can be considered as leaving behind an heir. Grandfather, where's fifth bro? Sima Yuran asked. He's still in the sect in closed-door cultivation. I've sent someone to inform him. Once he comes out, we'll send him away immediately. Sima Lai said, all right, there's no time to lose. Leave immediately. But grandfather, if those people really come, how can we be at ease leaving you alone at home? Sima Yulu was unwilling to leave and wanted to stay with Sima Lai. Nonsense. Sima Lai suddenly scolded, if they really come from that side, how can you resist them with your power? They can make you unable to move with a single glance. What can you use to resist them? Your life? But they might not come. Sima Yulu lowered his head and said softly. Grandfather, why don't you come with us? Sima Yuran said. I'm a general of the country, how can I leave with you? Sima Lai shook his head. Remember, no matter what happens, don't come back. Protecting your life is the most important, understand? Understood, grandfather. All right, I've prepared everything for you. Each of you take an interspatial ring. Let's go. Sima Lai said as he took out 4 interspatial rings. The 4 of them stepped forward, took the interspatial rings and dripped blood on them. Sima Lai brought the 4 of them out. Just as he walked into the courtyard, his body suddenly trembled and he looked at the sky cautiously. They're here. Sima Lai's voice had just fallen when a wave of pressure came from outside the city. You guys leave quickly. Sima Lai pushed Sima Yuming beside him and urged them. Ah, you want to run? Too late. An impudent voice sounded, shocking the entire capital. Sima Lai leapt up and appeared in the air above the general's residence. Seeing a group of people flying towards him, his face was unprecedentedly solemn. Feeling the arrival of a strong person, the people of the capital all stopped and looked around. Swish, swish, 2 silhouettes flashed into the air. It was the old principal and a guardian of the royal family. Seeing Sima Lai, the old principal flew over and asked, "What happened?" The aura of 3 spirit saints and a spirit overlord. Who are you? Sima Lai glanced at the old principal and said, "This is my Sima family's matter. You and Elder Huang don't have to get involved." Elder Huang naturally did not want to get involved. Hearing Sima Lai's words, he stood far away. Lai, Sima Lai took out a ring and said, "I'll have to trouble you to pass this to Yu. You must not let her come out. You can go back." The old principal took the ring and flew to the side. However, he did not leave. Instead, he observed the situation from afar. Sima Lin brought Sima Kai and the others and quickly arrived in the sky above the capital. Seeing Sima Lai, Sima Kai was shocked and blurted out, "You actually didn't die." Sima Lin, Sima Kai and Sima Qing, the 3 spirit saints and Sima Ku, the spirit overlord, lowered their heads and looked at Sima Yuming and the other 3 in the courtyard. Their hearts flashed with determination. "Sima Lai, that year when you fled, the clan used so much energy but was unable to catch you. Who would have thought that you would actually hide here?" Sima Ku looked at Sima Lai and his eyes flashed with a strange emotion. Before coming here, he had already told Sima Kai that no matter what, he would not let them return to the clan alive. If possible, it would be best to kill them all on the spot. Sima Kai looked at Sima Lai with a murderous gaze. Since he had survived the sneak attack of the 6-toed devil mouse, he should have recognized that it was a devil beast. He definitely could not let him speak of this otherwise. Chapter 130. Big Brother Lai. Sima Qing saw Sima Lai and called out his childhood name. Sima Lai heard the title that he had not heard for a long time and looked at Sima Qing. "You are Qing? Brother Lai, you still remember Qing?" Sima Qing smiled charmingly. Sima Lai gave her a slight smile, then turned his gaze towards Sima Lin and said, "This should be Sima Lin." Since young, the only person who could make Sima Qing obedient was Sima Lin. Sima Lin looked at Sima Lai. He never thought that he would actually be able to cultivate to such a level in this land of exile. If it was in the clan, then Sima Lai's current strength would not be any lower than his. "Sima Lai, where are the others?" Sima Lin glanced downwards and only saw Sima Yuming, the 4 youths and the guards. He didn't see anyone else. "Others?" Sima Lai sneered. "Could it be that the people who went back to report didn't tell you that other than me, everyone else was dead?" "All dead. Then third sister and the others." Sima Qing looked at Sima Lai, wanting to see if he was lying. Unfortunately, she didn't see any guilty conscience, only a gaze filled with hatred. "He has already been dead for close to 100 years. Sima Lai coldly said. When Sima Lin heard this news, he was also a little surprised. However, that surprise disappeared in a flash as if it had never appeared. "Sima Lai, you've actually managed to survive until now and even have children. It's a miracle." Sima Ku said in a strange tone. "Simak? It's a miracle that a little rat like you is still alive." Sima Lai retorted sarcastically. "You." Sima Ku didn't think that Sima Lai would actually know how to retaliate and said, "You fugitives, if you don't obediently follow us back today, then don't blame us for being merciless." "Go back with you? Do you think that's possible?" Sima Lai looked at the few of them. There was no panic on his face, only determination. "You all left before the matters of the past were settled. Right now you all must return with us." Sima Lin spoke. That was an unquestionable order. "Haha, if we hadn't escaped back then, I'm afraid even I would have died. Look at the current state of the clan. If we go there, we'll be dead. Tell me, why should we go back with you?" Big Brother Lai, father also said later that this raging inferno slash was stolen by your father after he killed third grandpa, or was it third grandpa who passed it to him, and then third grandpa was killed? At that time it was not clear. Perhaps you were really wrongly accused. If that's the case, don't you want to clear your name? A trace of hesitation flashed across Sima Lai's eyes. Sima Kai glanced at Sima Ku and the latter immediately shouted, "Since you're not willing to surrender, then we can only forcefully take you back. Take this." As Sima Ku spoke, he charged towards Sima Lai. His speed was so fast that Sima Qing and the others were unable to stop him. Sima Lai saw Sima Ku's attack and the hesitation in his heart turned into anger. He also condensed chi in his hands and rushed towards Sima Ku. The spirit energy circles formed by the two of them were like arcs that were a few meters long. When they met in the air, they violently collided, and the two of them were forced back by the force of the collision. "Grandfather! Grandfather! General!" Sima Yuming and the others cried out in shock when they saw Sima Lai fighting with someone. "Men, let's go protect the general." The steward saw that the two sides had started fighting and called those who were spirit kings and above to fly into the air, stopping in front of Sima Lai. "Fifth brother." Sima Kai went up to catch Sima Ku and brought him back to where Sima Lin and the others were. "Fifth great uncle, are you alright?" Sima Yulan flew over and asked Sima Ku worriedly. Flying in the air, she was of the same generation as Sima Yue and was actually a spirit king. "Yulan, take care of your fifth great uncle." Sima Kai handed Sima Ku over to Sima Yue before flying to the front. Looking at Sima Lai, he released his aura and took out his weapon, saying, "Stubborn, you actually wanted to take Ku's life. Such a vicious person, I will definitely take you down today." The power of a spirit saint was displayed, causing those who were watching below to flee. This was a battle between spirit saints, and the area of effect was huge and the power was strong. It was best for these small fries to quickly escape. Although this was a good show to watch, their little lives were more important. Sima Lai looked at Sima Kai and took out his weapon as well. "The last time you ambushed me, I'll take my revenge today. Steward, all of you are dismissed. General, go down and protect the young masters. This is an order." Once Sima Lai said this, the steward unwillingly brought his men down. They knew that they would not be able to withstand Sima Kai's attack, but they still wanted to use their lives to protect him. However, the young masters needed protection even more. "Grandfather, is he the one who hurt you the last time? You have to be careful of his." Sima Yulu thought of how Sima Lai had been hurt by this person and knew that he had a devil pet, so he subconsciously reminded him. However, before he could finish speaking, he was knocked unconscious by Sima Kai's aura. Noisy. Sima Kai was worried that he would continue speaking, so he directly knocked him unconscious. When he saw Sima Yuming and the others, he knocked them unconscious as well. "Young master." The steward did not think that a spirit saint would be so powerful that he could knock someone unconscious just like that. He quickly ran over to check on their condition. When he found out that they had only fainted, he heaved a sigh of relief and brought the guards to protect them. "Come." Sima Lai saw that Sima Kai had knocked his grandson unconscious and attacked him. Inside the spirit pearl, Sima Yu had rested for more than a day, and her spiritual energy had barely recovered by 70 to 80%. She did not know why, but she kept feeling uneasy. In order to prevent herself from going crazy, she gave up on cultivating and flashed out of the spirit pearl, planning to give the 100 revolutions pills to Fatty Chu and the others. In your room, she took out a few jade bottles and divided the pills into 2 portions. When the time came, each person would have a jade bottle, so it would be more convenient to give them out. Just as she finished dividing the pills, a knocking sound came from the door. "Yu, something big has happened. Have you come out of seclusion yet?" Hearing Fatty Chu's anxious voice, she waved her hand and Jiaong kept the jade bottle away. She quickly went to open the door. "Fatty, what's going on?" "Yu, something has happened in the general's residence. Your grandfather is fighting with someone." Fatty Chu said anxiously. Boom dash, as if to verify his words, a huge sound suddenly came. The power of the sound could affect half of the capital. "What's going on? Could it be that he's fighting with the old bastard from the Nalan clan?" Sima Yu asked. "No, I don't know those people. But when I looked from afar, I heard that there were 3 spirit saints, a spirit overlord and a spirit king. I don't know where they came from. Hey Yu, wait for me." Fatty Chu had not finished speaking when Sima Yu ran out of the door. Chapter 131. The moment Sima Yue ran out of the academy, she was stopped by a guard from the general's residence. "Fifth young master, the general wants you to leave the imperial capital immediately. This is something for you." When Sima Yue saw the space ring in the guard's hand, she grabbed it and ran towards the general's residence. "Young master, sigh." When the guard saw Sima Yue running towards the general's residence, he quickly chased after her. Wei Ziqi, Bei Gongtang and Ouyang Fei heard the commotion outside and came out to see Sima Yue and Fatty Chu running out. They hurriedly chased after them. Fatty Chu chased after her, but Sima Yue was nowhere to be seen. Fatty, what happened? Wei Ziqi and the others pulled Fatty Chu aside and asked. Something big has happened in the general's residence. Fatty Chu slapped his thigh and said. What happened? Bei Gongtang asked. Boom. The violent impact caused the ground to tremble. This is a battle between spirit emperors. Ouyang Fei looked in the direction of the battle in astonishment. Fatty Chu said worriedly, I don't know where these 3 spirit emperors and spirit overlords and spirit kings came from, but they've come to cause trouble for the general's residence. Right now, one of them is fighting with the general. What? Yue running over like that, wouldn't it be very dangerous? Wei Ziqi said worriedly. That's right, I chased after her, but in the blink of an eye, she disappeared. Fatty Chu said. Let's go and take a look. Bei Gongtang said as she took the lead and ran towards the school gate. There were already many students crowding around the entrance of the academy, blocking the entrance so that not even a drop of water could trickle through. The gate was tightly shut. The new head of teaching stood at a high point and said to the students below, It's very dangerous outside now. The academy has decided to seal the school gate and activate the Great Protective Array. No students are allowed to leave. Activate the formation. As soon as he finished speaking, a pale blue light slowly enveloped the entire academy. The people inside couldn't leave and the people outside couldn't enter. What should we do? Yue is still outside. Fatty Chu said anxiously. Once the protective formation is activated, unless the formation is shut down, no one can enter or leave. The people outside can only wait here. Wei Ziqi said. Bei Gongtang looked at the figures fighting in the air and muttered, Don't let anything happen to you. In midair, Sima Lai looked at Sima Kai, both hands placed in front of his chest, and his hands quickly formed a seal. Following his movements, the surrounding fire attribute spirit chi quickly condensed together, slowly forming a flaming blade. Raging Inferno Slash. The flame saber was 3 meters long, and it slashed towards Sima Kai. I didn't think that Brother Lai's Raging Inferno Slash had already reached this level. Sima Qing looked at the blazing blade and then at Sima Kai, but he didn't move at all. Sima Kai looked at the descending broadsword and his speed of forming seals increased. However, he was still much faster than Sima Lai. Last time he was injured by this. This time he could not use the 6-toed demon mouse. It seemed that he would have to be injured again. However, if Sima Lai dared to hurt him, then he would not be able to survive today. Sima Yue ran to the general's residence, which was now in ruins. The door was broken in half and the courtyard had collapsed. Fortunately, everyone had come out and no one was smashed inside. Brother? Sima Yue saw that Sima Yuming and the others were unconscious in the ruins and quickly ran over. Fifth young master, what are you doing here? The steward saw Sima Yue and said worriedly. Take advantage of the fact that they haven't discovered you, quickly leave. I can't leave alone. Sima Yue came in front of Sima Yuming and the others and checked their bodies. After confirming that they were fine, she heaved a sigh of relief. She turned around and looked at Sima Lai in the air, asking, Who is that person in the air? The general just said that he was the one who injured him last time, but he didn't say who it was. The steward replied. Young master, you should leave. They have already seen me. Sima Yue stood up and looked coldly at Sima Kai. It was this guy who had the 6-toed demon mouse and used it to sneak attack grandfather, injuring him. When Sima Lai's blazing blade came down, Sima Kai's Raging Inferno Slash was formed and he quickly used it to block Sima Lai's blade. A few months ago you were not my opponent and you will not be my opponent now. I was sneak attacked by you last time, and I will not make the same mistake this time. I will definitely take your life. Sima Lai said as he watched Sima Kai's blade being scattered bit by bit. Sima Kai watched as his own blade slowly dissipated. In a while, Sima Lai's blade would hit him. It was at this moment that Sima Lin, who had been silent all this time, made his move. With a single thought, Sima Lai and Sima Kai's blazing blade froze. No matter how the two of them moved, the blazing blade no longer listened to their commands. Spatial lock. Sima Yue cried out in surprise when she saw Sima Lin's actions. Sima Lin never thought that someone would actually recognize his move. He looked down and saw a figure standing straight in the ruins. Scatter. His voice was light, but it was like a thunderclap that struck Sima Yue's heart. The blazing blade that had been sealed seemed to have lost the support of the fire attribute spirit energy and slowly dissipated along with his voice. Dash, dash, Their own spirit skills had been forcefully scattered and Sima Kai and Sima Lai both suffered a backlash. They spat out a mouthful of blood and each held their chest as they retreated a few meters. "Brother Lai, are you all right?" Sima Qing saw that Sima Lai was injured and immediately rushed over to his side, looking at him with concern. Sima Lai saw that Sima Qing had rushed over despite the danger and patted her head like when they were young, saying, it's all right. They're still Qinger just like before." Sima Qing's eyes immediately turned red, saying, "Brother Lai, don't resist. Big brother is about to become a spirit paragon. You can't beat him. Come back with us and we'll explain what happened that year." "Qing, do you think this matter can be explained?" Sima Lai laughed bitterly. "If it really could be done, then why would we run away?" "Brother Lai," Sima Qing saw the pain in Sima Lai's eyes and bit her lips. She wanted to persuade him but she couldn't say anything. "Lai, we haven't investigated what happened that year. You took the raging inferno blade and left. Today you must come back with us." Sima Lin looked at Sima Lai. "If the clan really feels that you're guilty and wants to exile you here, then we'll let you come back." "Sima Lai, although you're a spirit paragon, we have 3 spirit paragons here and you're injured. If you don't come with us, then don't blame us for punishing you on the spot," Sima Ku said as he glanced at Sima Yue and the others below. "Grandfather, don't." Sima Yue saw the killing intent in Sima Kai and Sima Ku's eyes and shouted, "Even if we go back with them, we'll still die. Why don't we fight to the death now? Even if we really die, we'll drag 1 or 2 of them down with us." Little roar came out and became big. Sima Yue sat on his back and came to Sima Lai's side, confronting Sima Lin and the others. Chapter 132. Sima Lin looked at Sima Yue, seeing her spirit beast. He actually couldn't recognize what spirit beast it was. "Who are you?" Thinking that she had recognized his spatial seal, he asked. "Sima Yue." Sima Yue looked at Sima Lin. "No matter what happened back then, you cannot bring us back. I don't believe that a person who associates with demons will prove our innocence." "What did you say?" Sima Lin frowned as anger flashed across his face. "Say what? Could it be that you're old and your ears aren't working well, so you can't understand what I'm saying?" Sima Yue sneered. "As the saying goes, those who walk different paths cannot make plans together. Only jackals of the same tribe can walk together. Since you're working with the creatures of the devil realm, do you think we'll believe your words?" "What do you mean by associating with creatures from the devil realm? You're not allowed to slander my Sima family." Sima Yulan flew over angrily when she heard what Sima Yu said. "Slander? Don't tell me that you didn't know that my grandfather was injured by your family's 6-toed rats," Sima Yue said. "6-toed devil rat? How could something from the devil realm end up in our Sima family?" Sima Yulan was so angry that her face was red. She was extremely unhappy at Sima Yu's accusation. "You go down," Sima Lai said when he saw that Sima Lin's expression was turning uglier and uglier. "According to what you said, Guy already has a 6-toed devil mouse?" Sima Lin looked at Sima Yue. The aura of a superior made it hard for the people below to breathe. However, it was a good thing that she was used to Emo Sha's aura, so she didn't have much of a reaction. She sneered, "Even if you want to use your aura to suppress us, you can't change this fact." Ka. Sima Lin looked at Sima Yue and called out to the person behind him. "Big brother, how could I have something from the devil realm? I don't even know what a 6-toed devil rat looks like." Sima Kai did not expect Sima Yue to reveal this matter, so he could only lie. "You heard that?" Sima Yulan looked at Sima Yu. "Our Sima family is a big family in the Yilin continent. How could we possibly do something like that?" Although Sima Lin and Sima Qing did not say anything, the expression on their faces said the same thing. Sima Yue laughed coldly and patted Little Roar. Little Roar immediately understood and roared loudly. Brr. Although Little Roar's voice was very loud, it did not affect anyone. Only Sima Kai was holding his head in pain. "Third great uncle, what's wrong?" Sima Yulan asked when she saw Sima Kai hugging a pillow. Sima Yulan's voice attracted everyone's attention. "Third brother, what's wrong?" Sima Ku asked. Sima Qing looked at Sima Kai and asked sternly, "Sima Kai, what's wrong with you?" Sima Kai held his head with one hand and pointed at Sima Yue with the other, saying, "What did you do to me?" Sima Yue patted Little Roar's head and Little Roar roared again. Sima Kai's pain intensified and he could no longer continue flying. He immediately fell to the ground. Sima Ku flew down and caught Sima Kai before he hit the ground. "What did you do to my third great uncle?" Sima Yulan was about to hit Sima Yue when she was stopped by Sima Lin's gaze. Sima Lin turned around and looked at Little Roar, saying, "What's going on? Do it again and you'll know why." After Sima Yue finished speaking, Little Roar cooperated and roared again. Sima Kai, who was on the ground, roared and a six-toed devil mouse fell from his body, shocking everyone. "What is this thing? It's so ugly." Sima Yulan looked at the rat that was the size of a rabbit and had black water flowing from its body. She immediately cried out. Sima Lin and Sima Qing immediately recognized that it was a creature from the devil realm. Seeing the unique 6 fingers, Sima Qing cried out, "Six-toed devil mouse." The expressions of the Sima family members turned ugly. They had just sworn that the Sima family was definitely not associated with creatures from the devil realm. Now that the evidence was placed in front of everyone, it was like a slap to their faces. "Six-toed devil mouse? Third great uncle, how did you get such a thing?" Sima Yulan was stunned and her face was filled with disbelief. Squeak dash! The six-toed devil mouse seemed to have been hurt by Little Roar's voice as it scurried around on the ground. Seeing Sima Yue's gaze, it was filled with killing intent. "Sima Kai, how did you get a devil beast?" Sima Qing roared. "That's right, third bro, how did you get a devil beast?" Even Sima Ku was surprised. Squeak dash! The six-toed devil mouse spat out like a lantern as it looked at the people around it. Its ferocious nature was revealed. Squeak dash! Seeing Sima Ku, who was beside Sima Kai, the six-toed devil mouse leapt over to bite him. However, before it could touch him, it was hit to the side by a wave of spirit energy. Seeing the six-toed devil mouse, Little Roar was very impatient. Without Sima Yue's instructions, he roared out on his own and the sound waves caused the six-toed devil mouse to scurry around on the ground. Not long after, it fell to the ground and stopped moving. Dash! When the six-toed devil mouse died, Sima Kai spat out a mouthful of black blood and fainted. A spirit saint expert was taken care of just like that. This turn of events caused everyone to be dumbfounded. Sima Lin glanced at the ground and saw that Sima Kai was still alive. He no longer bothered with him and turned his gaze to Sima Yue. "Lai, what do you say now? Brother Lai, come back with us. If they really dare to kill you indiscriminately, I will risk my life to ensure your safety." Sima Qing said. Grandfather. Sima Yue looked at Sima Lai. She really did not want Sima Lai to say that he would go back. The impression that the Sima family gave her was too bad. If they went back just like that, she was worried that they would lose their lives. Sima Lin glanced at the old principal who was watching from afar. Seeing the worry in his eyes, he said, "Lai, since we know that you are here, even if I take you back today, there will be other people who will come to take you back. If you go back with us, we can protect your lives. If other people come, those people below might not be able to keep their lives." Sima Lai glanced at the unconscious Sima Yuming and the others and his eyes flashed with struggle. Initially he thought that even if he had to self-destruct, he would let them leave. However, he did not think that Sima Lin's strength would surpass his by so much. He even had spatial skills. His self-destruction would not have any effect other than losing his life. After escaping for so many years, he should go back and seek justice for his father. Although he did not know whether or not he could do it, he knew that if he continued to hide in this place, it would hinder the development of Sima Yuming and his brother. "Forget it, I'll go back with you." "Grandfather." Sima Yue looked at Sima Lai with wide eyes. She could not believe that he would be willing to go back just like that. Chapter 133. Sima Lai saw the shock in Sima Yue's eyes and knew that she couldn't understand. He said, "Yue, we can't run away forever. There are some things that we can't implicate others." Sima Yue looked down at the destroyed city below and looked at the innocent citizens below. She somewhat understood Sima Lai's actions. "But Grandpa, if we go back with them, can they really give us justice?" Sima Yue looked suspiciously at Sima Lin and the others. Because of Sima Kai's matter, she did not trust the so-called family clan. "Yue, it's me and your brothers, not you," Sima Lai said hesitantly. "Grandpa." Sima Yue was shocked. "Everyone from the Sima family must be brought back," Sima Lin said. "Actually, I didn't want to tell you this, but now I have no choice but to tell you. You are not a member of my Sima family, you are only adopted by us." Sima Lai said, "So you don't have to get involved in Sima's matters." "Grandpa, I know. But you guys raised me. You guys are my family." Sima Yue said firmly. You know? This time it was Sima Lai who was shocked. Could it be that Sima Yuming and the others had told her? Because of some things, I had my suspicions. Later on, I asked Master and he confirmed it. Sima Yue said. Since you already know, then you shouldn't have appeared here. Sima Lai said with a solemn face. Grandpa, you used to be my grandpa and you will be my grandpa in the future. I used to be a member of the Sima family, and I will be one in the future. This will never change. Sima Yue looked at Sima Lai and spoke her mind. Sima Lai looked at Sima Yue emotionally. He did not expect that Sima Yue had already found out about her identity, and even more did not expect that she would not back down at such a critical moment. But he couldn't let her go back with him because there were too many unknowns. He looked at Sima Lin and said, "She is not from the Sima family, you cannot bring her back." Sima Lin glanced at Sima Yue and did not comment. In that case, let's go down first. Whether or not to bring her back, we'll discuss it below. Sima Qing said. When the group of them landed on the ground, Sima Lai hurriedly went to check on Sima Yuming and the others. Seeing that they were fine, he heaved a sigh of relief. Yue, after we leave you have to cultivate properly. I believe that it won't be long before you can walk out of here. After Sima Yue got off Little Roar, Sima Lai went up and patted her shoulder as he spoke. Grandpa, are you going to listen to your grandfather or not? Sima Lai glared at Sima Yue. You're an array master? Sima Lin suddenly asked. Not yet, Sima Yue said. Then your spiritual power should be very strong. Sima Lin said, since that's the case, then I'll give you a chance. If you can receive 3 of my spiritual energy attacks, then I'll let you go with me. If you can't, then you can't go and you can't stop them from leaving. Okay. Sima Yue agreed. Sima Lai was a little hesitant. He was afraid that Sima Yue would be injured. Brother Lai, believe in Big Brother. Sima Qing said from the side. Come. Sima Yue walked to the side and turned around to look at Sima Lin. At this time, Sima Yuming and the others woke up one after another. When they saw the ruins in front of them, they didn't react for a moment. They didn't know that this was where they lived. Sima Lin looked at Sima Yue saying, have you thought it through? If you can't receive 3 of my attacks, then you will be seriously injured. Of course I've thought it through. Sima Yue said, let's begin. Sima Lin looked at Sima Yue and gave a thought. Sima Yue felt as if her head had been pierced by needles, and her face turned pale. After a moment of dizziness, Sima Yue did not fall, but her spirit was much weaker. Sima Lin looked at Sima Yue and his eyes flashed with a trace of surprise. He didn't think that Sima Yue's mental strength would be so strong. One attack was enough to make her dizzy. Grandfather, what's going on with 5th bro? Sima Yuran looked at Sima Yue and Sima Lin and asked. Sima Lai sighed and explained the current situation to him. The second attack is coming. After Sima Lin spoke, Sima Yue felt as if a huge mountain had suddenly appeared on her back. That force kept pressing down, causing her body to slowly move downwards. Sima Yue used her mental strength to resist, but the opponent was too strong. Her resistance was completely useless. Plop! Sima Yue's entire body was drenched in sweat. Her entire body was pressed down to one knee on the ground. 5th bro. Sima Yuming and the other 3 saw the state Sima Yue was in and wanted to help her, but they were stopped by Sima Lai. Sima Lai shook his head at them. Although Sima Yuming and the others did not understand, they stayed where they were without moving. They only looked at Sima Yue worriedly. Crack! Because she wanted to stand up bit by bit, she was once again pressed down on the ground. Her knees hit the ground fiercely and everyone present heard the sound of her knees breaking. 5th bro. Sima Yue cried out in surprise. He shouted at Sima Lin, what are you doing? Why are you making things difficult for her? Sima Lai wanted to stop him, but Sima Qing grabbed his hand saying, Brother Lai, eldest bro is unlocking her potential. Sima Lai looked and realized that Sima Yue's state was indeed different from before. He raised his hand and put it down again. The 2 of them stared at each other for about 10 minutes before Sima Yue was defeated. All the energy in her body was sucked out and many of her bones were broken. When Sima Lin retracted his mental energy, Sima Yue had already lost consciousness and was lying on the ground, not moving at all. Grandfather, will 5th bro be alright? Sima Yue looked at Sima Yue and asked. Sima Lai did not know either. He only pursed his lips and did not speak. You've lost. Sima Lin looked at Sima Yue on the ground and said, announcing the result of the battle. Sima Yue lay on the ground. Her entire body felt as if it had been run over by a car. Was this the power of a high-ranked spirit saint? Sima Lin glanced at Sima Lai and the latter called the steward over saying, in the future there will be no more general's residence. Distribute the family property to everyone and go find your own way out. General, are you really going to leave? The steward looked at Sima Lai worriedly. I have no choice but to leave. Sima Lai patted the steward. I'll have to trouble you to take care of young master during this period of time. Once his injuries have healed, he can do whatever he wants. Yes, General. The steward replied unwillingly. Sima Yuming and the other three knew of Sima Lai's decision. Nobody raised any objections. If Sima Lai wanted to go back, they would definitely have to go with him. Yulan, are you still unable to sense the whereabouts of the golden snake fruit? Sima Lin asked. I can't sense it. Sima Yulan shook her head. We don't have time to waste here. Since we can't find it, we can only give up. We'll go back now. It was at this moment that a weak voice came from the ground. 3 years. Chapter 134. Sima Yoyue's voice was very weak, but it reached everyone's ears. 3 years? Sima Yoyue's voice was heard again. Then her body, which everyone thought had fainted, moved. Yue. Cough cough. Sima Yue coughed twice. She slowly moved her hands backward and supported herself up. 3 years. She repeated. Seeing Sima Yue stand up, Sima Qing and Sima Lin were shocked. Especially Sima Lin, he was very clear on the extent of her injuries, but he never thought that not only did she not faint, she was even able to stand up. What 3 years? Sima Yulan was also shocked by Sima Yu and asked. I know where the golden snake fruit is. In 3 years you will protect Grandpa and the others, cough cough, ensure their safety. After 3 years, I will personally go to the Sima family and use the golden snake fruit to exchange for Grandpa and my brothers. Sima Yoyue's body swayed as if she would collapse at any moment. She could no longer speak, but her gaze was abnormally firm. Everyone present was stunned and looked at her, speechless for a moment. Fifth bro. Sima Yuming and the others' eyes reddened. Sima Yu ran over and supported Sima Yu. Sima Yu took out a pill and fed it to her. Sima Lin's eyes flashed as he said, You said you know the whereabouts of the golden snake fruit? I know who has it, but I don't know where it is. Sima Yue caught her breath and said, The golden snake fruit should be very important to you, right? Compared to the grandfathers who were chased out of the family, it should be much more important. How do you know? Sima Lin's eyebrows twitched, his interest in Sima Yue growing. Sima Yu did not lean on Sima Yuran. She stood on her own and looked at Sima Lin, saying slowly, When that person returned at that time, he would naturally bring the news of the golden snake fruit back. If this was not important to you, you would not have rushed over so quickly. I think that there should be a very important person among you whose soul has been injured. After you heard about the news of the golden snake fruit, you rushed over without stopping. Sima Yulan's eyes shone brighter and brighter as she looked at Sima Yu. She was really smart and had guessed everything. Sima Lin did not speak. Sima Yue coughed twice and continued, So this golden snake fruit is very important to you guys, I'm not wrong. Using 3 years of my grandfather's time in exchange for the golden snake fruit is not a loss for you. Why should I make this deal with you? Sima Lin said, We don't even know if we can wait for 3 years. Perhaps after 3 years, we will no longer need this golden snake fruit. If the soul is damaged, it will damage the mind but not the body. Not to mention 3 more years, even 30 more years won't be a problem. Sima Yue said. You know medicine? Sima Qing asked. Sima Yue did not reply, only looking at Sima Lin and asking, How is it? Even if you are right on this point, how can I believe that you will take the golden snake fruit outside in 3 years? The outside world is filled with danger and danger. Even the average spirit saint would not dare to pass through easily. You are just a little spirit master. How can you reach the level of a spirit saint in 3 years? Sima Lin said. I have my own ways. Sima Yue said, How I find the golden snake fruit and how I break through the barrier outside is my own problem. You only need to protect my grandfather and the others for 3 years. After 3 years, I will definitely appear outside your Sima family's door. Do you dare to make this deal with me? Yue, don't worry about us. Just do your own things in the future. Don't worry about us. Sima Lai looked at Sima Yue, his eyes filled with reluctance. Sima Yue looked at Sima Lin, waiting for his reply. All right. I will make this deal with you. Sima Lin said, In these 3 years I will settle them down properly. If you do not come after 3 years, whatever happens to them will be decided by the family. Okay. Sima Yue said, I believe that you will not go back on your words. You must protect my grandfather and the others. Otherwise, I will make your Sima family regret. Her voice became softer and softer until she could no longer speak clearly. Before she could finish her last few words, she fainted. Fifth brother. Yue. Fifth young master. Sima Yue leaned on Sima Yuran's body, completely unconscious. Sima Qing looked at Sima Yue and sighed to Sima Lai, "You raised a good grandson." Sima Lai walked over and carried Sima Yue. He looked at her with love and heartache before handing her over to the steward. "Take good care of young master." "Yes, General. This old servant will use my life to protect him." The steward took Sima Yue and promised. He had always known about Sima Yue's past and felt heartache for her. Now that he was shocked by her, she was the only one left in the Sima family. He would definitely take good care of her and protect her. Sima Lai patted the steward's shoulder and said to Sima Lin, "Let's go." Sima Lin summoned a goshawk. That goshawk grew bigger and landed in the courtyard. Divine beast. Someone saw the goshawk's rank and cried out. Sima Lin took the lead and walked up. Sima Qing, Sima Lai and the others followed suit. Even Sima Ku carried the unconscious Sima Kai and flew up. Sima Yulan hesitated for a moment before coming beside the steward. She took out a bottle of pills and said, "This is a fourth-ranked pill. It will be very helpful in treating his injuries. Give it to him to eat later." After speaking, she placed the pill into Sima Yue's embrace before turning around and flying onto the goshawk's back. Once everyone was on, the goshawk flapped its wings and flew away, raising a thick cloud of dust. The old principal, who had been in the air the entire time, saw Sima Lai leave with them and sighed in his heart. He landed on the ground and said to the steward, "Leave him to me. Go and settle the remaining matters of the Sima family. Once you've settled down, come to the sect to look for him." The steward heard Sima Lai's instructions to the old principal and handed Sima Yue over to the old principal. After the Sima family went through such a disaster, their businesses would be shaken. No matter what choice Sima Yue would make in the future, he had to ensure that before she woke up, the Sima family's businesses would not be shaken too much. The old principal looked at Sima Yue. He had seen her performance just now and felt both heartache and praise. Thinking about her future, he could not help but sigh. He carried Sima Yue and flew into the sky above the sect. He waved his hands at the teaching director who was guarding the entrance, and the teaching director got people to close the great array protecting the sect. He carried Sima Yue directly to the courtyard where he lived. Bei Gong Tang and the others saw the unconscious person and hurriedly ran to the place where they lived, leaving behind a group of students who were still discussing the unforeseen event. The spectators from various powers also returned to their own houses and began to discuss the division of powers in the capital. The Sima family existed in name only, and the power in the capital had to be divided again. Everyone wanted to get a share of the pie at this time. Many commoners came to the general's residence. The once majestic mansion had turned into ruins, and they told everyone what kind of unforeseen event had happened. Chapter 135. The raging flames dyed the entire sky red, and the entire house was burned into ruins. The three words Shiman Residence, on the plaque above the main entrance, was slowly engulfed by the flames. "Shiman Yu, didn't you rely on the fact that your talent is better than mine to suppress me? Why don't you turn around and take a look at what your Shiman clan has become now, ha ha ha." A sharp laughter came from the flame, and it was so ear-piercing. "Child, this is not your fault. You have to live well in the future. Mother hopes that you can live happily." A gentle and loving voice soothed her endless pain. The red wedding dress, the red flames, and the red blood kept flashing in front of her eyes. Sima Yue finally couldn't take it anymore and opened her eyes. "Young master, you're awake." Chun Jian saw that Sima Yue's eyes were filled with tears and was wiping them away. Seeing that Sima Yue had opened her eyes, Chun Jian happily called out. Sima Yue turned around and saw Chun Jian's face. Only then did she slowly come back to her senses. She wanted to reach out and touch her head, but she found that her hand was wrapped in gauze. "What does young master want?" Chun Jian asked. Sima Yue shook her head and asked, "Where is this?" "This is the headmaster's courtyard. It's been here ever since you fainted," Chun Jian said. At this moment Yun Yu came in from outside. Seeing that Sima Yue had woken up, she hurried over and said, "Young master, you're finally awake. You've been unconscious for so many days. We were worried sick." "How long have I been unconscious?" Sima Yue sat up and saw that there were many bandages on her body. She reached out to remove them. "It's already been 4 days, Chun Jian said. "If it weren't for the principal repeatedly telling us that you were fine, Yun Yu and I would have been worried to death." Sima Yue's hand paused as she mumbled, 5 days. "Grandpa and the rest have been gone for 5 days? Yunyu went up and grabbed Sima Yue's hand, saying, "Young master, why are you pulling the bandage? You're still injured." Sima Yue lowered her head and looked at her own body. Thinking back to the duel with Sima Lin that day, she could not even take two of his moves. "My injuries have already healed. I don't need to wrap it up anymore," Sima Yue said as she continued to pull it off. Chun Jian and Yunyu wanted to stop Sima Yue, but the two of them were surprised to find that after Sima Yue removed the gauze, all her previous injuries were healed. She got off the bed and walked without any problems. She opened the door and walked out. Young master's body, Yunyu watched as Sima Yue left. She was so shocked that she couldn't speak. Chun Jian pulled her back and shook her head, indicating that she shouldn't be curious about the young master's matters. From a long time ago, she had discovered that not only had the young master's temperament changed, but he also had many secrets. As his servant girls, it was best for the two of them not to ask anything. Sima Yue came to the courtyard. The last time she came here it was to say goodbye to Feng Zhixing. She didn't expect to come again so soon. The old principal was in the courtyard tending to his flowers and plants. When he heard the noise, he knew who it was without turning his head. "After sleeping for so many days, you're finally awake. I've troubled the principal." Sima Yue lowered her eyes, hiding the emotions in her heart. The old principal stood up from the garden. At this moment he looked like a farmer. His trousers were rolled up and his hands were covered in mud. "I promised your grandfather and master that I would take care of you. Naturally, I will take good care of you." The old principal walked out and said, "Come with me." Sima Yue watched as the old principal condensed water vapor to wash the mud off his hands. She was speechless. Only he would use his spiritual energy to condense water vapor to wash his hands. The two of them arrived at the old principal's bedroom. He entered the room and quickly came out with a ring on his hand. He handed the ring to Sima Yue and said, "Your grandfather gave this to me before the accident. He told me to give it to you." Sima Yue took the ring and held it tightly in her hand. "Since you're fine now, you should go home." The old principal said, "In order to take care of you, I let Chun Jian and Yunyu stay here for the past few days. Now that you're fine, let them go back. Also, your friends have come to see you a few times. As for the rest, you can decide when you go home. I'll give you a few days off. You can come back to school after you've settled the matters at home." "I understand. Thank you, principal." Sima Yue bowed to the principal and turned to leave. Chun Jian and Yunyu had already packed their things. When they saw Sima Yue come out, the two of them quickly followed. "Chun Jian, how's the situation at home these past few days?" After leaving the school, many places outside were still in a mess. Sima Yue thought of the general's residence that was in ruins and asked, "Young master, after you fainted, we've been in the school and haven't left the courtyard. That's why we don't know what's going on outside." Chun Jian replied, "Then let's go back and take a look." Sima Yue sighed and brought them back to the general's residence. When they reached where the general's residence used to be, the ruins had already been cleared. The new houses had not been built yet and the people from the general's residence were only temporarily staying in the houses that had been spared. "Fifth young master, you're back." A guard saw Sima Yue and happily reported the good news to the others. "Fifth young master, are you all right?" "Fifth young master." The guards rushed over and surrounded Sima Yue in the middle. Sima Lai, Sima Yu Ming and the others were not around, so Sima Yue became their only master. Sima Yue nodded at them, indicating that she was fine. Seeing that the number of guards did not decrease, she was relieved. It seemed that nobody abandoned the general's residence because Sima Lai and the others were not around. "Where's the steward?" "The steward is discussing something with a few stewards. They're in the kitchen." A guard replied. "All right, thank you." Sima Yue walked towards the kitchen. When she passed by the library, she realized that most of the houses had been destroyed but the library was completely fine. Could it be that this is some kind of treasure? Sima Yue muttered as she looked at the library. However, she did not have the time to think about this at the moment. Thinking that she would take a look when she had the time, she went to the kitchen. The kitchen was still the kitchen but the dining hall beside it had become a meeting room. When Sima Yue arrived, the steward was discussing something with a few stewards. When they saw her enter, everyone in the house stood up. "Fifth young master, are you feeling better?" the steward asked excitedly. Sima Yue nodded, saying, "I'm fine now. Now you can tell me about the situation in the general's residence and the imperial capital. You can all go and rest. The steward can stay behind and report to me." After receiving her orders, the few stewards left, leaving her and the steward alone. Sima Yue found a place to sit down and listen to the steward talk about the current situation. Her expression became uglier and uglier and the anger in her eyes grew stronger. Chapter 136. Young Master, there's one more thing. The butler looked at Sima Yue worriedly. What is it? Because young Master said that he knew the whereabouts of the golden snake fruit, many people wanted to take advantage of young Master. The butler said, after that, the principal of the Capital Institute released the news that anyone who dares to have designs on you is going against the Institute. That's why those people haven't done anything these days. Oh, you want to hit on me? Sima Yue sneered, then let them come. When the time comes, I'll kill them one by one. If two come, I'll kill a pair. If the entire clan comes, I won't mind exterminating them. The butler felt sorry for Sima Yue when he saw the coldness in her eyes. If it weren't for the current situation, she wouldn't have become like this. Young Master, since the principal has spoken, those people naturally won't dare to do anything openly. However, we still have to guard against them from behind the scenes. The butler thought that Sima Yue was just saying it out of anger and did not know that she really had that kind of ability. There's no need to worry about this for now. I'll handle it myself. Sima Yue waved her hand. Were you discussing the shop with those stewards just now? Yes, many forces thought that the general's residence would be disbanded after the general left, so they all wanted to get a share of the profits. Some families came to me wanting to buy our shops at a low price. Some suppliers directly cut off our supply, probably because they were afraid that we wouldn't be able to come up with the money. Therefore, we are now in a precarious situation. Even the number of guests has decreased by more than half. The butler said worriedly. In that case, our shop is now an empty shell, Sima Yue said. Yes, I was just discussing with those managers to see if we can find another shop. The butler said. Are all the people outside trying to take advantage of the situation? Sima Yue asked. That's not it either. The Chu family sent someone over previously, saying that the reason was to provide us with some goods. However, their own abilities are limited and they can't completely resolve our crisis. The butler said. Fatty? Sima Yue recalled hearing Fatty telling her that he would not let anything happen to the Sima family. He really did it. In addition, the Beast Tamers Guild has also said that they will help us. They are willing to provide us with some tamed low-level spirit beasts. The butler added, I heard that this was decided by the vice president of the guild. Then it should be Ziqi who went to look for his granduncle. Sima Yue said, providing help in times of need is always more meaningful than icing on the cake. No matter how much help they give us, we have to thank them. At the same time, we have to make those who want to take advantage of the situation pay the price. When the butler saw the confidence in Sima Yue's eyes, his heart calmed down. As long as he did not collapse, the Sima family would not collapse. Young Master, what should we do next? Go and call those stewards in. We will discuss this. Sima Yue said. She did not believe that as a beast tamer and alchemist, she would not be able to support the Sima family. Okay. The butler went out and quickly brought those stewards in. Fifth Young Master. The stewards bowed to Sima Yue in unison. To them now she was already their master. In the past they only listened to Sima Lai and did not discriminate against her. However, they did not approve of her in their hearts. However, after hearing about what happened that day, everyone treated her as their master. Forget it. Everyone find a place to sit. Sima Yue waved her hand and said, the butler has just told me the situation. Firstly, Yue would like to thank everyone for not leaving the Sima family. I thank everyone on behalf of my grandfather and brothers. Saying this, she stood up and bowed to everyone. Young Master, you are too kind. Those stewards stood up one by one, not daring to accept Sima Yue's bow. This is what I should do. Sima Yue sat down again. Those stewards also sat back down. I also heard that one or two stewards felt that the Sima family would disband because of this and left at this time. I do not blame them for this. However, I will definitely say that the Sima family will not decline. It will only become stronger. Those who left, we will make them regret their decision today. Okay. We believe in Young Master. We will listen to Young Master no matter what you want us to do. Sima Yue's simple words made everyone feel more energized. She had now become their backbone. First of all, we still have to continue operating the shop. Sima Yue said, I will provide the pills. You don't have to worry about the pills and herbs. On one hand, we will look for the beast tamer masters. On the other hand, I will find some. As for the rest, we will look for the Chu family. Even if we do not make a profit, we have to replenish the goods first. We cannot let the shop be short of anything. Everyone knew that she was an alchemist. Hence, when they heard her talking about the pills, they did not feel that it was inappropriate. However, when it came to the matter of the spirit beasts, they were a little hesitant. Young master, although the Beast Tamer Master Guild said that they will provide some help, they cannot satisfy our needs. If we ask them for help, I am afraid that we will have to pay a hefty price. One of the stewards said. We only need to provide them with the current quantity. We still have to rely on ourselves for the future supply. Sima Yue said. Rely on ourselves? Young master, there are no Beast Tamer Masters. How can we rely on ourselves? Who said that there are no Beast Tamer Masters? Sima Yue said. We don't know how to tame beasts. Could it be? Everyone turned to look at her. She nodded and said, That's right. I am a Beast Tamer Master. Hence, in the future you will be in charge of finding people to capture the spirit beast. I will tame them. Young master is a Beast Tamer Master? Everyone looked at her in shock as if they were wondering if she was telling the truth. Young master, aren't you an alchemist? Someone asked. Who said that an alchemist can't be a Beast Tamer Master? Sima Yue retorted. No. That person shook his head stupidly. It seemed like he was quite shocked. But young master, if we want to capture the spirit beasts, I am afraid that we do not have enough manpower. The steward said. Then we will recruit people. Sima Yue said. But young master, we do not have that much money now. The steward said, we did not make much profit in the past. Hence, we do not have much inventory. Now we have to repair the house and look for resources. All these things require money. Furthermore, those spirit masters may not be able to be bribed with money. No money. That is a big problem. Sima Yue said, but if money is not enough, we can use other methods to attract them to work for us. For example, what they want. Chapter 137. The meeting lasted for almost 2 hours. After coming out of the temporary conference hall, every manager's face was brimming with confidence, as if they had seen a beautiful future. Sima Yue and the butler came out after her. The butler felt relieved when he saw Sima Yue. She wasn't depressed, she wasn't passive, and she wasn't defeated. Instead, she had arranged everything in such a short time. In the past, no one had realized that she had such a talent for leadership. Young master. Chun Jian had been waiting outside. When she saw Sima Yue come out, she went forward and said, Young Master Chu and the others are here. They have been waiting for a while. Fatty and the others are here? Where is it? Sima Yue asked. They're waiting outside, Chun Jian said. We don't have any extra rooms right now, so we can only let them wait outside. I got it. Sima Yue said, Butler, you can go ahead with your work. Yes, this old servant will take his leave. The butler bowed and turned to leave. Chun Jian brought Sima Yue to the front, and when she saw several people standing on the ground, she quickly walked up to them. Yue. They heard footsteps and turned to see her walking away. Sima Yue saw the worry on Bei Gong Tang and the others' faces and smiled at them, saying, I'm so sorry, but now you guys don't even have a place to sit. Yu, we heard that you left the academy, so we came over to take a look. Bei Gong Tang said, How is your body now? That's right, I heard that many of your bones were broken. How are you now? Do you still feel pain anywhere? Fatty Chu asked. Sima Yue shook her head and said, It's not that serious. I just slept for a few days. I'll be fine when I wake up. Really? Wei Ziqi looked at Sima Yue. She moved her body and there was no problem. Only then did everyone relax. Let's go somewhere else to talk. There's no place in the general's residence that can entertain you. Sima Yue said, Let's go to the tea house nearby. The 5 of them went to the tea house and found a private room. When the tea was served, the waiter glanced at Sima Yue a few more times. Sima Yue picked up the teacup and said to Fatty Chu, Fatty, I'll use tea as a substitute for wine to thank you for your family's help at this time. You're so polite. I'm not used to it. Fatty Chu scratched the back of his head as he said. Sima Yue uses a Yoyuez. And? Of the. Ouyang Fei and Bei Gong Tang drank their tea. Yue, I heard that the Sima family situation is not good. Do you have any plans? Fatty Chu asked. Of course I do. Sima Yue said, Those people want to take the chance to divide the Sima family. It's not that easy. Although grandfather and the rest are no longer around, I'm still around. I won't let the Sima family disband. I want to make it stronger. What do you plan to do? Wei Ziqi asked. Sima Yue smiled. I still need your help on this. The next day, Sima Yue followed Wei Ziqi to the Beast Tamer Master Guild to meet the vice president. Granduncle Yue is here. Wei Ziqi brought Sima Yue into the living room and said to the people there. Sima Yue bowed slightly and said, Greetings to the vice president. The vice president nodded and said, Fifth young master, please take a seat. Thank you, vice president. You can just call me Yue. Sima Yue and Wei Ziqi sat down and a servant girl immediately came to serve tea. Yue, Ziqi came to find me yesterday and insisted that I meet you. What's the matter? The vice president asked. It's like this. After I woke up, I heard from the housekeeper that the Beast Tamer Master Guild had helped us. I heard that it was under your orders, so I wanted to thank you. Also, there are some things that I want to discuss with you. Although I don't have much contact with your grandfather, I know that he is a righteous person. Plus, your relationship with Ziqi is so good, so helping you is not a big deal. The vice president said, As for the things you want to discuss, you can discuss it with the people you sent. This matter needs to be discussed with the person in charge. That's why I came to find you through Ziqi. Sima Yue said, Vice President, I'm not here to seek help. I'm here to cooperate with the Beast Tamer Master Guild. Cooperate? The vice president looked at Sima Yue, not knowing what she had to cooperate with him. The Beast Tamer Master Guild is not under my control. If you want to cooperate with the Beast Tamer Master Guild, you have to take out something that can move the guild. Since I'm here, I naturally thought of this. Sima Yue said. Then tell me, how do you want to cooperate with the Beast Tamer Master Guild? The vice president asked. The Sima family shop needs some tame spirit beasts. I hope that the Beast Tamer Master Guild can help us fill this gap temporarily. Sima Yue said, In return, I'm willing to tame a certain number of saint beasts for the Beast Tamer Master Guild. What did you say? You can tame saint beasts. The vice president and Wei Ziqi were stunned, thinking that they were hallucinating. Sima Yue nodded and said, That's right. I wonder if this condition can be exchanged with the Beast Tamer Master Guild? Yue, you're a Beast Tamer Master now? Wei Ziqi looked at Sima Yue. Even though they lived under the same roof every day, she would still shock them from time to time. Sima Yue nodded her head. The vice president looked at Sima Yue with a different gaze and said, You've tamed saint beasts before? Yes. What level? 4th level. Wei Ziqi looked at Sima Yue as if he was looking at a monster. His great-uncle had said that his talent was outstanding and that he would achieve great things in the future. However, he was still unable to tame saint beasts. Sima Yue was actually able to tame 4th level saint beast. Even his great-uncle, the vice president of the Beast Tamer Master Guild, who had lived for more than 100 years, could only tame 6th level saint beasts. Furthermore, her spiritual energy level was higher than his, and she was also a pill master. He rubbed his forehead. Was this guy really the person who lived with them? No, how was he human? He was obviously a pervert. Words are not proof. The vice president calmed himself down and looked at Sima Yue. I can prove it. Sima Yue said, If the guild has any spirit beasts that I can tame them on the spot. It can be considered as a show of sincerity for our cooperation. Alright, a saint beast just came 2 days ago. I was planning to tame it in 2 days, but I can let you try it now. The vice president was interested in her. Thinking about the spirit beast that was just sent over, he also wanted her to try it. He wanted to see if she was really able to tame saint beasts like what she said just now. Sima Yue smiled confidently, All right. Chapter 138. Title, Chapter, Author. Well, if you have really tamed a sacred beast, then the Sima family's spiritual beast tamer for this period of time will be provided to you for free. The vice president said, If you are unable to tame a spirit beast, then our Beast Tamer Master Guild will also lend a helping hand. However, we will need to collect some cost. Sure. Sima Yue nodded. But I have a small request. Go ahead. I want to train beasts publicly. Sima Yue said. Public beast taming? Yes, it's best if it's in a crowded place like a square, Sima Yue replied. The vice president immediately understood Sima Yue's plan. If she were to tame a sacred beast in front of everyone, then her status in the Dongqing kingdom would instantly skyrocket. Those who had designs on the Sima family would naturally shrink back, and she could also rely on her own fame to attract some wandering spirit masters. All right. Then I'll get someone to make the arrangements. In a while, we'll go to the Imperial City Plaza to tame the beasts in public. While those people were preparing, the vice president brought Sima Yue to take a look at the holy beast that had just arrived. A level 2 earth bear beast was locked in a cage. When it saw someone coming, its eyes flashed with an ominous glint. A level 2 sacred beast? Sima Yue asked as she recognized the earth bear's level. This earth bear beast's mental strength is rather strong. Although it is only level 2, the difficulty of taming level 3 sacred beasts is not any lower. The vice president said. Okay, Sima Yue looked at the restless earth bear in the cage and was not worried about the outcome at all. At this moment, 2 servants walked in and bowed to the vice president saying, "Vice President, we're here to carry the spirit beast over." The vice president nodded and said, "Go. Be careful." Yes. The 2 men walked over and carried the cage out. Although it was a mimicry, the size of this earth bear beast was not to be underestimated. Let's go. The vice president turned around and left. Sima Yue was about to follow, but was stopped by Wei Ziqi. What's wrong? She looked at Wei Ziqi in confusion. Wei Ziqi pulled her over and said softly, "Yue, can you really tame this earth bear beast? This is a rank 2 holy beast. If you fail to tame it, you will suffer a backlash. Don't worry. When have I ever done something that I'm not confident in?" Sima Yue smiled and followed the vice president out. Wei Ziqi looked at Sima Yue's back and sighed as he followed her. Although he knew that she had always been confident and would do what she said, he still doubted that she was already a beast-taming grandmaster. When Sima Yue and the others arrived at the plaza, there was already a sea of people. The entire plaza was so crowded that not even a drop of water could trickle through. When they heard that someone was going to tame a beast in public, everyone came over out of curiosity. Shiremo Li and Nalan Lan were coincidentally passing by the plaza as well. When they heard that someone from the Beast Tamer Master Guild wanted to tame a beast, they both got off their carriages at the same time and came to the center of the plaza to see who was so high profile. Make way. A guard opened a path in front of the vice president and the rest. When everyone saw that it was someone from the Beast Tamer Master Guild, they consciously made way for them. Although the vice president lived in seclusion most of the time, most of the people in the capital still recognized him. Seeing Sima Yue following behind him, many people were puzzled as they did not know what they were going to do. The vice president brought Sima Yue to the center of the plaza where the cage containing the earth bear beast was placed. "How is it here?" the vice president asked. Sima Yue looked at the people around her. Not bad, many people from different powers had come. Furthermore, the people from the Beast Tamer Master Guild were very fast. Not only did they attract so many people, they also drew a temporary boundary keeping the crowd outside. "Very good," Sima Yue said. "Then you can start after you've adjusted your state," the vice president said. "No need," Sima Yue said as she walked to the center of the plaza and sat down in front of the cage. "Sima Yue? Why is she sitting outside the cage? Didn't something happen to the Sima family? Why is she still here? Looking at her actions, is she going to tame the beast? It can't be. Isn't she a trash? How can she be a beast tamer? Did you just come from another city? This Sima Yue is no longer a trash. She started cultivating a year ago and is now a second-grade alchemist. We will never be able to catch up with her talent. How can she be considered trash?" "What, she's an alchemist? And a second grade?" "Yes, during the Emperor's birthday she even refined pills in front of everyone. This is something that the entire capital knows." "She's an alchemist, but why does she look like she's going to tame the beast? Could she be a beast tamer? How can that be? It's already a miracle that she's an alchemist. How can she be a beast tamer? If that's the case, then we should find a hole to hide in. What's the point of living like this?" But looking at her actions, she really looks like she's going to tame the beast. If she's really a beast tamer and an alchemist, then how powerful is she? Even if the Sima family only has her as the head of the family, they won't decline. Did you guys notice? The one in the cage seems to be a sacred beast. What? Everyone's gaze landed on the cage. It was indeed a sacred beast. If she was able to tame it, then she would be a beast tamer grandmaster. Everyone didn't dare to think further, afraid that they wouldn't want to live anymore. Many people believed that Sima Yue was a beast tamer. Of course, there were also some who didn't believe it. Shiramoli didn't believe it. She looked at Sima Yue and said, "Sima Yue, such a big thing happened to the Sima family. Why aren't you at home? What are you doing out here? Aren't you an alchemist? Why, do you think this spiritual beast will be manipulated by you like medicinal herbs? Do you think you're a beast tamer? If I were you, I wouldn't be here to embarrass myself." Sima Yue looked at Shiromoli and said faintly, "Who said that alchemists can't be beast tamers?" After she finished speaking, she reached her hand into the cage. Many people saw her touch the earth bear beast and closed their eyes in fright. The cage containing the spiritual beast seemed to restrict their strength. Although their eyes were fierce and violent, they didn't bite her hand. She placed her hand on the earth bear beast's forehead and activated the imperial beast art, beginning to tame it. Bei Gong Tang, Ouyang Fei and Fatty Chu walked past and saw Wei Ziqi standing in the middle of the empty space. They squeezed in to see what was going on. Seeing Sima Yue taming the earth bear beast, Fatty Chu was so shocked that his jaw almost dropped. "Ziqi, what is Yue doing? Don't tell me she's taming a beast." Fatty Chu came to Wei Ziqi's side and asked, "Didn't you see it?" Wei Ziqi rolled his eyes at Fatty Chu. Bei Gong Tang looked at the earth bear beast in the cage and said, "The one in the cage is a saint beast, right? Or a second-grade earth bear beast?" "What?" When Fatty Chu heard this, he hurriedly reached out his hand to support his chin. If not, he was really afraid that his chin would be gone. Gentlemen's Assembly. Chapter 139. Ziqi, when did Yue become a beast tamer master? Fatty Chu could not believe his own eyes as he grabbed Wei Ziqi and asked. Wei Ziqi slapped his hand away and said, "You're asking me, but who am I supposed to ask? We should just watch quietly," Bei Gong Tang said. Fatty Chu and the rest quietened down as they watched the game between Sima Yue and the earth bear. In the eyes of outsiders, the taming process was just one man and one beast standing there without moving or speaking. In fact, there was nothing to see and it took quite a long time. But even so, Sima Yue tamed them from morning till afternoon and no one left. Everyone wanted to see if the trash of the past had really become not only an apothecary, but also a beast tamer master. She wanted to see if she could successfully tame it. Wei Ziqi and the other members of the Beast Tamer Master Guild already believed that Sima Yue was a Beast Tamer Master. If she wasn't, she wouldn't have been able to last so long against the Earth Bear. Almost there. The Vice President's eyes lit up as he looked at Sima Yue. Wei Ziqi and the rest looked towards the Earth Bear beast and saw that the fierceness in its eyes was no longer there. It was almost as docile as the spirit beast sold in the spirit beast shops. After a while, Sima Yue opened her eyes. She was not too tired. Woo, the earth bear beast was lying in the cage. Sima Yue went forward and opened the cage. The earth bear beast did not even know that it had come out. When the people present saw her open the cage, they all retreated in fear. However, when they saw that the earth bear beast didn't come out to attack them, they relaxed and continued to watch the show. The vice president stepped forward and looked at the earth bear, saying, "It's indeed tamed successfully. I didn't expect you to succeed, and the time you spent was a third shorter than the average beast tamer. It's indeed not easy." Sima Yue smiled and said, "The spirit beasts I tamed have another characteristic." "What?" the vice president asked. "Is the owner of this spirit beast here? If he is, you can let him experiment on the spot. I believe that the results will not disappoint you," Sima Yue said. The vice president glanced at a middle-aged man waiting by the side of the stage. The man understood and walked over. Actually, when he first heard that his spiritual beast would be tamed by Sima Yue, he did not agree. However, this spiritual beast had already been entrusted to the Beast Tamer Master Guild and the vice president did not say anything, so he could only watch from the side. He did not expect Sima Yue to succeed. Now he believed what she said and started to look forward to what she said. The vice president said, "You heard what Yue said. Are you willing to sign the contract now?" "All right." Sima Yue and the vice president retreated to the side. That person walked in front of the earth bear and placed his hand on its forehead to start the contract. Soon, a contract formation was formed in the square, wrapping around the man and the beast. After the contract was completed, the formation turned into 2 silver lights and drilled into the man and the beast's foreheads. "There's nothing special about it?" The people present were a little disappointed when they saw that there was nothing special about the contract. The earth bear's owner also did not feel anything special. Just as he was about to ask, he suddenly felt a surge of energy in his body. A large amount of spiritual energy surged out from the contract space. He quickly sat down cross-legged and began to guide the energy in his body. Soon, the light of leveling up shone and enveloped the man and the beast again. Oh my God, are they leveling up together? They can still level up after signing the contract. What kind of taming method is this? It's too magical. Everyone present was shocked by this scene. They looked at Sima Yue as if they were looking at a treasure. If the spiritual beast she tamed could level up after signing a contract with her, then wouldn't they be able to level up after signing a contract with her? Even though the vice president had lived for a long time, this was the first time he saw a leveling up after signing a contract. No wonder she said that she had the capital to work with the Beast Tamer Master Guild. Just as everyone was discussing, the light of leveling up slowly faded. The owner had leveled up by 2 levels and the spiritual beast had leveled up by 1. That person opened his eyes and looked at Sima Yue excitedly. He stood up and bowed to Sima Yue saying, "Thank you, 5th young master, for taming the spiritual beast for me. If the general's residence has any problems in the future, please look for me. I will definitely help you." "You're welcome." Sima Yue smiled and waved her hand, "But the general's residence is no more, only the Sima residence is left. If I need your help in the future, I will definitely look for you. With a grandson like you, General Sima will definitely be safe and sound. If there's nothing else, I will go back first." With that, he bowed to the vice president and Sima Yue and turned to leave. He had just leveled up and needed to go back and consolidate his strength. Sima Yue looked at the excited crowd and knew that she had achieved her goal. She said to the vice president, "Vice President, let's go back." "Okay." The vice president nodded and left with the people from the Beast Tamer Master Guild, leaving behind a few people to pack up. The people who were watching the show saw that the main characters had left and also dispersed. However, they did not forget about this matter and instead spread the news. Such a miraculous thing must be told to more people. Shiramoli did not think that Sima Yue was actually a beast tamer master and was even a great beast tamer master. Thinking that Sima Yue was better than her in refining pills, although she was not convinced, she could only leave resentfully. Nalan Lan was also shocked by Sima Yue's actions. She grew up in the clan and naturally knew the consequences of Sima Yue's actions today. Thinking that her own clan was planning to make a move on the Sima family, she immediately sent people back to tell her father about this matter. Returning to the Beast Tamer Master Guild, the people in the guild looked at her differently. Just the fact that she was a great beast tamer master was enough for them to look up to, not to mention that she was also a second-tier pill master. Once again returning to the living room, the vice president sent people to greet Sima Yue, Wei Ziqi, Fatty Chu and the others before leaving for a while. Today's matter had to be reported to the president. Originally, he only wanted to help the Sima family, but he did not think that Sima Yue would take out such a huge bargaining chip to cooperate with them. According to his intentions, he could give Sima Yue more benefits, but he had to report it to the president. In the living room, Fatty Chu and the others were still immersed in the shock from just now and had not recovered. Each of them looked at Sima Yue as if they were looking at a monster. Even Bei Gong Tang, who had seen many geniuses, looked at her the same way as Fatty Chu and the others. "Yue, how much do you have that we don't know about?" Fatty Chu exclaimed. Cough cough. Sima Yue coughed twice, thinking that she really had many secrets. "Yue, when did you become a great beast tamer master?" Ouyang Fei asked curiously. "The last time I came back from Pu Luo mountain range, didn't I leave again? I went back to the mountains to tame spirit beasts. At that time, I knew that something might happen to the Sima family, so I wanted to increase our strength. But I never thought that it would be completely useless in front of those people." "You're saying that you became a great beast tamer master in just 10 days? Fatty Chu cried out in shock. Chapter 140. Every time they thought that they had calmed down after being provoked by Sima Yue, she would ruthlessly provoke them again. "Actually, it's nothing much. Alchemy and beast taming both rely on mental strength. Due to some reasons, my mental strength is slightly stronger than the average person," Sima Yue said. "Not human." After a long while, Fatty Chu finally spat out this sentence. "Agreed." Ouyang Fei nodded. "That's right." Bei Gong Tang agreed. "I'm thinking, should I pry open Yue's head and see what's inside?" Wei Ziqi, who had always been gentle and refined, had been provoked to the point that he revealed his valiant nature. Sima Yue looked at them speechlessly. She knew that she was a little perverted, but these people shouldn't be so agitated. Fortunately, at this moment, the president and vice president of the Beast Tamers Guild came in and interrupted their conversation. "President, granduncle." Wei Ziqi stood up and bowed to the two of them, and at the same time told Sima Yue about the identity of the people who had come. Sima Yue and the rest also stood up and bowed. The president waved his hand and asked everyone to sit down. The president sat down at the main seat and started sizing up Sima Yue. Sima Yue met the president's gaze calmly. While he was sizing her up, she was sizing him up too. Capable, this was her first impression of him. Confidence. This was his first impression of her. Fifth young master, I've just heard about what happened today. The fact that you've become a great beast tamer at such a young age has really shocked this old man. The president stroked his mustache and said, I wonder where fifth young master learned from? My master has always been living in seclusion in the mountains. He lives a low-key life and doesn't like the disturbances of the outside world. That's why he doesn't allow me to talk about him. Please forgive me. Sima Yue spouted nonsense. She didn't have a master, so where was she going to find one? Speaking of which, that Mo Sha had given her pointers when she was training beasts. The imperial beast art was also given to her by him, so strictly speaking he could be considered half her master. However, his existence was an absolute secret, so it was impossible for him to speak of it. The president nodded. He knew that people like her had their own preferences. Some liked to show off while others liked to keep a low profile. Since she didn't want to talk about it, he couldn't force her. You said that you want to cooperate with our Beast Tamers Guild? Sima Yue nodded and said, yes, I'm sure the president knows about what happened to the Sima family. Our current situation is not good. Many forces want to take over the Sima family because my grandfather is not around. So I want to cooperate with the Beast Tamers Guild. You can provide us with spiritual beasts for a period of time. In return, I will tame a batch of sacred beasts for the Beast Tamers Guild. She had heard Wei Ziqi say before that there were not many people in the Beast Tamer Master Guild who were able to tame saint beasts. Furthermore, they would take a long time to recover, so she believed that the point she had raised would be very tempting to the Beast Tamer Master Guild. We don't need you to tame many sacred beasts. The president said, I would like to invite you to join our Beast Tamers Guild. When the time comes, the Beast Tamers Guild will provide you with the spiritual beasts you need for free. Join the guild? Sima Yue's heart was a little hesitant. This was not part of her plan as she did not want to be restricted. Yes, you can join the guild as an elder. Normally you won't need to do anything. You just need to tame a few spiritual beasts for the Beast Tamers Guild occasionally. When the Beast Tamers Guild is in danger, you just need to appear for a bit. This is much better than taming many sacred beasts, the president said. But I don't have any plans to join any organization at the moment. Furthermore, you should know that I will be leaving Dongqin country in 2 years. It wouldn't be good for me to join you. Sima Yue rejected. When Wei Ziqi heard Sima Yue's words, he was a little anxious for her. The position of the Beast Tamers Guild's president was not something that just anyone could obtain. Don't be in a hurry to reject me. The president waved his hands and said, I naturally know that you are leaving, but you are still here. Furthermore, if you join the Beast Tamers Guild, as long as you don't do anything that will let the guild down, you will always be an elder. When the time comes for you to leave Dongqin country, the Sima family will also need a backing, isn't that right? Sima Yue was silent. The president was right. She would be leaving very soon. When the time comes, the Sima family's foundation would not be stable and they would indeed need a strong backing. And the Beast Tamers Guild was just right for this. The people in the house did not make a sound, giving her time to consider. This was a big decision. After a while, Sima Yue nodded her head and said, all right, I agree to join the Beast Tamers Guild. Everyone in the house laughed. The president nodded his head and took out a badge from his spatial ring, saying, this is the badge of an elder of the Beast Tamers Guild. Take it. Sima Yue stood up and took the badge with both hands. All right, from now on, you are the 9th elder. The president said with a smile. That's it? Sima Yue blurted out. Wasn't there a process for a power to gain an elder? Seeing the doubt in her eyes, the president smiled but did not say anything. The vice president at the side said, we know that you don't like these complicated matters, so we'll just skip it. When the time comes, we'll just announce to the public that you are our elder. Thank you, President and Vice President. Sima Yue kept the badge into her spatial ring and returned to her seat. Regarding the matter of the spirit beasts, you can just find someone to look for Manager Fu. He will arrange it for you. The president said. Thank you, President. After leaving the Beast Tamers Guild, Sima Yue was still in a daze. How did she become an elder of the Beast Tamers Guild just like that? You don't know this, but for a normal person to become an elder of the guild, they have to go through layers of tests and selections. After confirming the candidate, there are 3 ceremonies. It's very troublesome. Wei Ziqi explained. I think you are the only one who can receive such treatment. It's best if you don't. Sima Yue said, thank you for today. If it wasn't for you, meeting the vice president would be a headache for me. Sima Yue said. No need to be so polite. Wei Ziqi smiled, Alright, the four of us will return to the academy first. If you need anything, just get someone to look for us. Okay. I will. After parting ways with them, she returned to the Sima residence. Today her reputation had already spread. Very soon, the news of her becoming an elder of the Beast Tamers Guild would spread. The matter of the spirit beasts in the shop had also been settled. Now she needed to return and discuss the next step with the housekeeper. She was still used to taking the old path to the main entrance. Only when she reached the flat ground did she remember that the main entrance was gone. She stood blankly in front of the old main entrance. Thinking about how the general's residence used to be here, her heart ached. Grandfather, brothers, wait for Yue. I will definitely save you. Chapter 141. Young Master. The butler had just returned and walked over when he saw Sima Yue in a daze. Sima Yue turned to the butler and asked, "How is it?" "The Chu family has already decided to cooperate with us. We still have to continue discussing the details," the butler said. Today, Sima Yue went to the Beast Tamers Guild while he went to the Chu family to look for Fatty Chu's father to discuss the details of the supply. "Young master, what's the situation on your side?" "It went well," Sima Yue said. "Let's talk about it when we get back." When they returned to the temporary meeting hall, Sima Yue told them about what happened today. When they heard that Sima Yue had not only reached an agreement with the Beast Tamer Guild, but also became an elder of the guild, they were elated. "Now that we've made a name for ourselves, we can start recruiting now," Sima Yue said. "We are in urgent need of manpower, so we can relax the requirements. As long as they are capable and have a decent character, they will be fine." Furthermore, he had to promise that he would serve the Sima Manor for 10 years. During these 10 years he would receive a salary from the Sima Manor. 10 years later, it's up to them to decide whether to stay or leave. "Young master, why is it 10 years? The butler was puzzled. "Some of those spirit masters don't like being tied down. If we want them to serve us for the rest of their lives, they won't agree. But if it's only 10 years, they'll treat it as a deal," Sima Yue said, "and 10 years is enough for us to develop our own forces. So that's how it is. Young master is more considerate." The butler nodded. "As for the recruitment requirements, their strength must be at least a great spirit master. Moreover, according to their strength they can obtain spirit beasts of different ranks. Furthermore, they will be spirit beasts that I have personally tamed. In addition, there are also a number of pills," Sima Yue added, "and after entering the Sima family, they can enjoy the same treatment as our own guards. What do you think?" "Good. Only with good treatment will people be willing to stay," the butler said. "Since you've agreed, then let's start putting up the notice," Sima Yue said. "Also, we have to speed up the construction of the Sima residence. We can't be without our own home all the time. That's not good for attracting talents." "Yes, young master. I'll leave the details to you. Once we've found the manpower, we'll send someone to capture the spirit beasts. We can't always rely on the Beast Tamer Guild," Sima Yue said. "Okay. Then this old servant will go and make the arrangements." The butler bowed slightly and prepared to leave. Sima Yue saw that the housekeeper had just returned and had not even had a sip of water before going back to work. She said, "This period of time is a little special. I'll have to trouble you." The butler shook his head. "It's my fortune to be able to work for the Sima family. Uncle Fu, thank you." The butler smiled as he walked out. He raised his head and looked in the direction that Sima Lai had left in and secretly said, "General, young master has really grown up." Sima Yue left the meeting hall and heaved a sigh of relief as she looked at the people who were busy building the Sima residence. Seeing that the compendium pavilion was still intact, she recalled her doubts and slowly walked over. Standing in front of the book collection pavilion, he recalled the first time Sima Lai had brought him here. With a thought, a key appeared in her hand. "Kacha?" She inserted the key into the keyhole and the door opened. She pushed the door open and walked in. After a few steps, the door closed automatically. She walked around the library a few times but did not find anything special. She only found an extra box on the top floor. She opened the box and saw a model of the book collection pavilion inside. It was small and exquisite. "I didn't see this the last time I was here. Could it be that grandfather placed it here?" She took the book collection pavilion and studied it carefully. She saw a small groove at the bottom but did not know what it was used for. She put the small pagoda back and sat on the chair in a daze. "Grandfather, brother?" In the past, every time she returned home she would be accompanied by her family. Now that she was the only one who could support the family, she felt that she was so happy in the past. Thinking of the ring that the old principal had given her, she took it out from the spirit pearl. Because she was too sad before, she did not realize that this was the ring that he usually wore. The spiritual energy on it had been erased, so this ring was equivalent to an ownerless ring. Grandfather? She inserted her spiritual energy into it and looked at Sima Lai's storage. She found that although he was a spirit emperor and a general of the Dongqin kingdom, he did not have many valuable things. Actually, Sima Lai's things were considered rich in the Dongqin kingdom. It was only because she had seen many good things in the spirit pearl that she felt that Sima Lai was shabby. She scanned the spatial ring and found a book and a sound stone in an independent corner. She took out the sound stone and inserted her spiritual energy into it. The veined patterns on the stone began to move and Sima Lai's familiar voice came out. Yue, if you can hear this, then I should not be in the Dongqin kingdom anymore. Sima Lai's voice was slightly old and his words sounded especially heavy. There is something that I have never told you. You are actually not of the Sima family's bloodline. Do you remember that I told you that when our family fled to the Sophia mountain range, everyone else died? In the end, I was saved by someone and brought out of the Sophia mountain range. That person was your father. I originally thought that I would never see him again. I did not expect that 10 years ago he would appear again holding you in his arms. After he entrusted you to me, he left. He said that if you were to achieve something one day, you can use the jade pendant in the spatial ring to go to the primordial lands to find him. Sima Yue scanned the spatial ring and found that there was indeed a jade pendant placed alone. She took it out and found that the quality of the jade pendant was comparable to the one that Feng Zhixin gave her. Grandfather has always had a bad premonition in his heart. I originally wanted to let you leave early tomorrow morning, but I don't know if I can make it in time. If something happens, the Sima family will be handed over to you. The housekeeper should be able to help you deal with it. If you can't hold on, then just disperse. That book collection pavilion is a spirit tool that I accidentally obtained. I never understood what it was used for and only used it as a book collection pavilion. Now that I hand it over to you, maybe you will be able to discover the mystery inside. There is a key in the spatial ring you will understand when you see it. Yue, no matter what, you have to be happy. This is the biggest wish of me and your brothers. I believe that this is also the wish of your birth parents. The message ended here. Sima Yue looked at the sound stone, and at this moment her face was already filled with tears. She felt the deep love that Sima Lai had for her. She felt his worry and also his wish for her to be safe and happy. She kept the sound stone and muttered, "Grandfather, don't worry. We will meet again. I will definitely save you." You're tuning in to the Han Li's Wuxia Chronicles YouTube channel. We're so grateful for your support and don't forget to subscribe to join us on this incredible journey through captivating stories. Your generosity through donations truly makes a world of difference, as it's the primary source of revenue that allows me to expand and enhance this channel for you. Thank you from the bottom of my heart for being a part of this adventure.